So while Declan blah, 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 was off watching and pursuing Murin, the other three, Bryn, Abrishmina, and Makud, decided to go and check out the Vicar, using the key to get in and finding the place completely deserted with lots of rotten food and some very nice lizard meat. They wandered through into the arena itself, whereupon they were beset by a number of foes, one of which was a bird, so wonderfully piloted by Liam, who had been following them and attacked, trying to control Makud's mind, but that was broken by Abrishmina. The other of their foes was a bunch of small pots with black sand that seemed to come alive and attack them, based on absolutely nothing. And so they fought through, almost dying, but managed to destroy the pots or escape the pots and beat down Yuki enough to where they could abduct her. At this point, at the corpse of the sandworm that had attacked, Makud saw 3 tiny wyvern chicks, like begging for food, situated inside the corpse, and the mother, fully grown wyvern, swooped down to feed them, presumably, and but was attacked by a giant version of the small little scuttlepots. And they were about to be attacked by it as well when a very strange man named Kynlarden came up out of the hole in the ground beneath the corpse and spoke to them. He informed that he was a lutomancer, a clay wizard, and he gave them some rose-colored quartz, which they need for their job for the Bell Witch. And he gave them a notebook with some strange information on it, which we will get to later on. And in return, they promised to come back and help him fight when he has made his clay hydra, or help test his clay hydra. After that, they took Yuki back to the Six Eyes and interrogated her, finding out that she has been following them for some time and knows a lot of personal information about them and has seemed to have been able to, find information and hear parts of their conversations that they thought were secret, probably due to her, shape-shifting abilities as a druid. Yuki wanted nothing more than to escape and rescue her wife, Aishi, but and she knew about Tira being at the temple and wanted to take Tira away with her as well. But unfortunately, they found that they couldn't really get any useful information out of her, except that she worked for the ghost, and with a plea that they free Aishi, Bryn killed Yuki, who, definitely seemed to have something wrong. She was very zealous in her pursuit of them. And that's about it. There were a few details I glossed over, but we can revisit those, I think, if and when they come up. But is there anything glaring I missed?
That we were all on like single-digit health, and there was like eight enemies left, and we basically were almost dead. And Makud was a champ, and
it was an awesome fight. Oh yeah, with the
making
the
it
giant snake bridge
over the spike growth would have killed them,
absolutely.
and using it for cover, and also shoving flaming pots down its mouth.
We learned that level 10 druids versus a party of 3 level 4. When the druid has a snake staff of the adder and a wand of magic missiles, it's not a very fair fight.
Can a druid use a wand of magic missile?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's usable by anyone.
Yeah. Makood could use a wand of magic missiles if he so chose.
I could use it to hit somebody with.
Yeah.
Which one is the shooty one?
Who cares? Stab.
So
apart from that, there was basically that Yuki chose death over like failure, effectively.
Yuki was dispatched by the preacher because his wife was held hostage, right?
Her wife.
From what you've gathered, she works directly for the ghost, though has never seen her because no one has. The ghost works for the preacher, and
you say the ghost, not the ghost that we were working for.
No. One of the apostles named the ghost, named Ghost. Nadir.
They were on their bird honeymoon, right? And they got kidnapped, and it was determined that she had useful skills as an assassin, so they basically pressed her into being an assassin for them by imprisoning her wife.
It does also bear mentioning that we were told that this was a direct retaliation to the warehouse raid that we were part of.
Yes.
But she also wanted to escape that life and have her wife back.
But she knew all of our names, right?
Yeah. She knew all your names. She knew that Tira was at the...
Were we able to find out? Well, we can just roleplay this stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to have to tell Declan anyway, so...
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't have to.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
Yeah, the conversation about that she knew, where she was demonstrating her knowledge of Mina, was a conversation she had with Declan at Declan's apartment that was getting parroted back to her. So that's what concerns
Mina.
Mina.
Who had a conversation with Declan?
Whenever we were talking about taking Tara to the temple,
you
asked Mina if she would do it for you, and she was all like, "No, I can't really go back to the temple because blah 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 blah." That got parroted back.
Right.
Got parroted back to us.
Okay, got it. So she was in the room with us.
Parroted back.
Oh, nearby. Yeah, parroted.
I get it.
Declan, you are sitting on a rooftop, or more probably kneeling, and watching as Murin, this man, high on Aldok leaves, is stumbling away from your apartment through the streets in the northeastern end of Ashar.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're planning on following him?
That's the plan.
Very well.
Also keeping an eye out for anyone suspicious that might be watching me watch him, or also watching him.
Absolutely. You can make me a perception check, actually.
Sure. 19.
Okay. So you follow him for a little while, maybe 10 minutes. And he rounds this corner and begins to sort of slow up at this crossroads. And at this crossroads, you're sort of looking down over him, and he throws up this sort of red and green bile, just like at a corner. And the crossroads is getting... Oh, yeah?
Does it look like... you said this was a common drug where I'm from.
Yeah.
Is this like a sickness that I've seen before?
Yeah, definitely. So this drug, Aldok leaves, is like... was very, very common in Dathoin, but then everyone started dying and people stopped using it because it was like just the worst. So it's quite rare to see nowadays, but you've definitely had encounters with it before. And it is also, you would know, a like very potent magical suppressant. So like a wizard or a cleric, if they're on Aldok leaves, there's no way they can ever cast a spell. Like like it just removes that sort of mental faculty. So you're watching him, and you hear him mumble like something under his breath, and he sort of like wipes his brow.
I'd like to try to read his lips if I can see his lips.
You can actually hear him. Like
okay.
he's sort of, I imagine he's throwing up at the foot of the building you're kind of peering down at him on.
Sure.
And he goes, Tira. And then as you sort of hear that name and something clicks, you kind of glance to one side and you see that coming from one end, like if you're, the direction you're looking at the crossroads, from the south end and the north end, you see two figures, and they're both looking at him. Now, you're going to have a moment to act before they get to him, but they're very purposefully walking towards him.
Are they clearly armed?
They are. One carries a dagger, and the other carries a scimitar, I believe. Let me just double check. Sorry, I didn't have the page open. Yes, one has a dagger and one has a scimitar. And you see also, like, you sort of quickly scan the area as you're making a plan, I imagine. You are actually getting quite near to the sort of central road of Ashar, which is like at the north end of the high street. So you're actually coming to the edge of like the skeevy, terrible area of town, which is the northeast. You're sort of more like getting towards the center.
Like a busy part of town.
Not necessarily as busy as like the south is the busiest. The north is less busy, and the northeast is really rough.
Okay.
But you're sort of like central north. Okay. So there's a lot more foot traffic.
But currently he's in an alley, or he's on a main road?
Yeah, so he's in an alley that's like a street back.
Okay.
And
what time of day is it?
It's, I believe, like mid-morning.
Okay. The men approaching are not obviously city guards or official or anything?
I'll describe those in a moment. I'm just going to quickly describe the surroundings for you.
By all means, please.
So you are on this kind of blockish building that's a little bit taller than the others. Mm-hmm. And there is a beam that sort of points out from one of the corners right over the middle of the crossroads. And the beam looks to be like it used to maybe hang like a shop or a tavern sign from it, like a little wooden sign, but that's long gone. Mm-hmm. So there's this beam hanging there. The four houses that sort of make the crossroads, or the four buildings, look empty, including the one you're on top of, this shop or inn or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you see these two men, and they are wearing black robes, which is quite strange in Ashar because obviously blacks are not a great color for the sun. Black robes and these white collars that are sort of buttoned together. So they've got this sort of white line around almost like a sort of polo neck around their necks, and then a black sort of almost like a sort of priest's garb. And they could maybe be from a temple, except no temple around here wears like plain black robes. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they're both like fast walking towards him.
Okay.
Looking like they're planning on grabbing him.
Does he seem aware of them?
No, he has no idea. He's like throwing up and spitting and moaning about Tira.
Okay. So I want to kind of hold my action until the right moment. Basically what I want to do is sneak attack. Basically, like if I don't know if the spacing is working out exactly like I'm imagining it, but basically I want to be on this beam right above them. And as one of them walks underneath me, I would like to throw a shuriken at the foot of the guy approaching from the other direction, and then drop down on top of the other guy.
Okay, yeah. So I imagine like you are sort of you're at like the corner. You'd have to be at the corner where the beam is to be sort of close. Mm-hmm. And so you can get like on the beam to be right over top, and Murin is sort of down right below you, leaning against the corner of the building you're standing on. Mm-hmm. So you could definitely wait for a moment where you'd be able to jump, attack one, and throw. So go ahead and make some rolls. All
right. Do you want a stealth check first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perception.
Pretty good. That's me 21.
That's a 9. and a 6, 7. So yeah, easy, easy to avoid them.
Nice. So first shot with advantage at the guy who is approaching with my shuriken. That's gonna be 18 to hit.
An 18 hits.
Nice.
Are you throwing it at the one with the dagger or the scimitar? Just out of curiosity.
Whatever one was, I guess the one with the scimitar.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Let's see. 18 points of damage.
Okay. So the one with the scimitar, sort of, you throw it and you just see it like embed straight into him, and he just goes down, and is like struggling for breath. You think you've managed to knock him out of action.
Okay. And then I want to, if I can, in the same turn, unless you want to roll initiative with this guy.
No, I'll let you act because you're having a sort of surprise round.
All right. I would like to. So I've used my sneak attack for this round. So we're sort of ignoring mechanics then for this.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just drop down on top of him, make an extra. I'd like to kind of bring my sword down through the back of his calf or something.
Okay.
Am I still stealthed or no?
You're still. We'll say you're sort of doing these like at the same time, so you can still be stealth, but you won't get your sneak attack because you've just used it.
Okay. So that'll be 21 to hit.
Yeah, 21 hits
for 9 points of damage.
9. Okay.
And if I can try to like bring this guy down to the ground with like a tackle or something.
Yeah. Okay. So I imagine you sort of like aim just behind him, and so you can sort of slash his leg and like kick him down.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he lets out this sort of strangled yelp, and like immediately, he like turns and holds up a fist. And there's like this sort of flash of this kind of weird grayish black light, and
just from his hand.
Yeah, just emanating from his hand, and then manifesting behind him in the shape of like a really sort of curved, ornate axe that looks kind of like Abrishmina's standard fare. And correct me if I'm wrong, C. You can attack with that straight away, yeah?
Yes.
Sweet.
The expert clerics in the house.
Yeah, exactly. So that will be a rubbish roll. A 12 to hit.
12 misses.
So I imagine it's sort of he kind of turns to face you, summons a spiritual weapon, and you just kind of like duck and roll out from beneath it before it has a chance to strike you. And he like growls in anger and jumps up to his feet.
Okay. Initiative or okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
It's going to be a 20. 30-20.
Okay. You're up first.
So I would like to first use insightful fighting to try to get my sneak attack. So it'd be a 19 versus his deception.
A 19 versus his deception. He rolled a natural 7 with a +4, so 11.
Okay. So I'll get my sneak attack this round. That shit. That's going to be a 13.
13 just hits.
Okay, that's good news. So basically, what I want to try to do is take his hand off at the wrist. If I can do that kind of a called shot, the one that whatever one is controlling the spectral.
Okay, I'll say if you do enough damage, you can do that.
Okay. 7, 8, 9, 12 points of damage.
Okay. You bring down your sword.
Yeah, it's like a little short sword kind of thing.
Yeah. So you like bring it down and it snaps into his wrist, and you can hear the bone crush, and you get probably a good like halfway through his wrist to the point where his hand's useless. It's not clean off.
Okay.
But it is like broken and useless, and he screams in pain, like wrenches his hand away, tucks it under his armpit.
Say, surrender now. You need not die.
Roll me a persuasion or intimidation check. You can choose.
I'm not very good at those. That is an 8.
Well, he also got an 8. So I'll say status quo remains the same.
Okay.
He lets out this kind of muffled yell and jumps forward to try and stick the dagger in your chest. That is going to be where is it? An 18 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, you take. You take. Oh, max. 6 piercing damage on the first one, and he has 2 attacks. The next one is not as good. That's going to be a 16 to hit.
That also hits.
Okay. And another max, so another 6. And then he's going to attack you with a spiritual weapon again.
Did he lose concentration on it?
He definitely is going to need to... it's not concentration.
Spiritual weapon is a concentration.
Good.
That's why clerics are awesome, man.
Yeah. That's going to be a 14 to hit.
That misses.
So I imagine he sort of like jumps up and he's just like clutching, he's bleeding. You can see his eyes like half closing with blood loss and pain. And he just like manages to kind of like shove the dagger like into the sort of side of your chest. Like your armor stops most of it, but there is like definitely a searing pain and blood just kind of spurts out. And as the axe comes down again, it's sort of like its movements seem more belabored and more lazy, and you're kind of able to dance out the way, pulling yourself away from his dagger embedded in you.
Cool. My turn?
Yep, go for it.
Okay. So I don't need to use my bonus action to insightful fighting him again. That lasts for a minute.
Cool.
Ooh, does it?
It does.
That's cool. Yeah, I've got an Inquisitive Rogue, but she hasn't really made it into combat yet.
It's fun. Yeah, I guess I'll just do a standard attack. That's going to be a 19 to hit.
19 hits.
Oh, that's a shitty roll. 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. Okay. He's still up.
Okay, I'll use my bonus action to sort of disengage. So
Yeah.
I'll move away from where the sword is, the axe, and towards what's his face?
Murin.
Murin.
So you kind of back away, and Murin is like looking around, like he doesn't really know where he is, and he sort of stumbles backwards in shock and kind of trips over like an old barrel or something.
Yeah. I'll get like 20 feet away from or a little like 25 feet away from the spiritual weapon. Because I've seen how slow that thing is when Mina uses it. And then I'll just interpose myself between him and Morin.
Cool. Sounds good. So I would say like he's probably not quite 25 feet away, but I'll say you can get out of range of the spiritual weapon.
Okay.
It's probably like right on the cusp, and it does like fly towards you, but doesn't quite make it to you.
Okay.
And you see the man you've been attacking like look at you, look at Murin, and he's going to turn and try and run away.
Okay.
And the spiritual weapon just drops.
I mean, I'll pursue and then try to throw a shuriken in the back of his shoulder.
I mean,
shoulder.
you can yeah, I mean, I will say, like, you can definitely catch him. Just
I'm not
'cause-
trying to catch him. Like if he's going 60 feet, I will then also go 60 feet with my bonus action, right? Dash with my bonus action,
Yeah.
and then launch Shuriken. So I don't even have to do this round.
Cool.
Just hopefully before he leaves the alley.
Yeah, so you probably wouldn't need to chase him because he's only 20 feet or so away. So
fair point.
but he's probably still in range. So yeah, you can just wing one at him.
That is a 13 again.
Okay, that hits.
Um, 14 points of damage.
Okay, he is down. I'm assuming non-lethal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's probably bleeding like a stuck pig.
Yeah, it's not going to be non-lethal for long.
Yeah.
But yeah, he trips, goes down painfully, and like doesn't get up. Sort of. Like,
I'll do the best I can to drag him into the alley. You said there's some abandoned homes.
Yeah, so there's the abandoned shop and 3 sort of abandoned, residential buildings.
Has Morin registered any of this?
He has. He like saw and kind of tripped backwards, but he doesn't really know where he is, and he's sort of staring up at you, like he's trying to focus on you.
I'm going to say, Warren, I'm a friend of your sister's. Help me get these men inside this house.
And he's sort of like,
do it now.
Okay. And like as your tone changes, he sort of begins to stumble to his feet. You would know that people on these leaves are pretty much physically useless, but he tries.
All right. I mean, I'll help him, but having an extra set of hands to move 2 bodies around might be nice.
He's making an effort. But yeah, it doesn't take you long to get all 3 of these men inside the building. You did notice as well, just because you're deckman, that there's a for sale sign in the window of like the inn that you're beside, and then
in the window of the one that we just went into.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take it out of the window.
Okay. And it just says on it, it says the Mirage Inn for sale, 2,500 gold, and then that's been crossed out, 1,000 gold, and then an address to contact, like a couple streets away.
Okay. Once we're all inside, I'm gonna do my best to lock the door behind us and make sure.
Yeah, easy enough to bar it.
And first I'll check in with the guy who I knocked out first. I assume he's still bleeding.
Yeah, he is pretty badly.
Okay. I'm going to bandage the wound. I can do a medicine check to try to stabilize him.
Sounds good. I'm assuming you're going to do one for both, so.
Yes.
What's wrong?
Okay, that's a 16 on the first one.
Yep.
And a 18 on the second one.
Yep, both are stable.
Okay. And then I'll check in with Morin. I'll take out some smelling salts and try to run under his nose.
Yeah, he definitely like wakes up and like becomes a little bit more cautious, but like with Aldok leaves, it's just a time thing. Like it's gonna take maybe a day.
Just if I can get a little focus out of him, that's all I'm trying for. Maybe I can't. But.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely more alert, like enough to where he can probably hold a conversation. But
Mina did lesser restoration him.
Oh, that's true. So he's much more able to hold a conversation now.
Okay. You all right, Maroon?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You know why these men coming for you?
He like nods and sort of looks to them.
Who are they?
I think they work for they work for my boss, He's
who is your boss?
Jura.
Jura?
Yeah. Jura, you would know, is one of the 4 apostles.
Ah.
The trapper, specifically.
So you're working for slavers then?
I just go to the dead drops.
What is it you do for them?
I just go and I pick up a package if it's there, and I move it to a different dead drop and I leave it there. I never speak to anyone. I never see anyone.
Do you have any reason to believe that they might want you dead?
No, they want to. I can trust you, right? And he like
Can.
turns and looks up at you, sort of wide eyes.
You can. Hold on a second. I'm getting a phone call. I'm really sorry, man.
No worries, no worries.
It's 1,000 gold, you say?
Let's pull our resources.
Like, let's see.
I
Mina
don't
has
have
776. Anyone want to go in like halvesies or three-quarters? Or
You guys want to buy it in?
yeah, we have enough gold.
Makud has the money.
And I
Insane.
subtly mentioned that it is in an area of
Yes.
town that would see a fair amount of foot traffic were it open.
Yeah, and it's also, unfortunately, this might be why it's closed. The entrance is in an alley. That might have been
No,
why it failed.
So there's two. There is a front entrance on the sheet, but that
Oh,
street
okay.
that's for like barred windows, blacked out, like
I
you
got you,
can
I
see
got
in. And then Dylan, you've kind of
I'm
Declan's
gonna
kind
be
of
all like,
dragged
well, there's
them.
your problem.
Yeah, Declan's kind of dragged them like into sort of like the back door, which is like into the storeroom and kitchen kind of area, rather than like the front of house. So like there's no way you could be seen from the street.
We just come in and go, this place is covered in bloodstains. It should at least be 750. Yeah. Well, so I really wanted to do, when you said, sorry, I'm getting a phone call. I just imagine Declan like flipping up his phone and just, and then
from the future.
Hello, this is Makud.
One more level, and then he can start receiving phone calls from Mina whenever we're separated. Just hold on, my cleric is calling me.
So yeah.
Well, yeah. So he says, they were coming to ask why I didn't make the last drop.
Why didn't you?
Well, there was all these notes I saw around, and they were telling me to go to this place to find my sister, and I thought she must be in trouble, and so I dropped everything.
And how did you find yourself under the influence of outdoor cleats?
And he sort of like demurs and kind of looks away.
Were you planning on rescuing your sister while you were under the influence?
I don't know. I couldn't just do nothing. They gave them to me. They said it would.
I gesture to the two men on the ground.
Yeah, them and a couple of the others.
Your sister is safe for now.
She is? You've
is.
seen her?
I saw her, what was it, yesterday?
Yeah.
Just yesterday, I left her at one of the temples in the city. She's under the care of the nuns there.
That's that's good. Thank you.
It is very important to me that you and your sister are safe. Tira has done me a great many services in the time that I've been in this city. I need, for her safety and for yours, for you both to leave Ashar. I can help you. My family can help you into Thoin, where you will be safe.
The trapper won't let me.
Well, as you see, I could protect you until you're out of the city.
You could?
Do my best. These men were coming to you with swords drawn. I think they meant to kill you anyway.
They usually do that. It's to scare me, They'll throw me up against a wall or something. But I mean, I've never really seen anyone move like that. But if you think we'd be safe?
Nothing in life is a guarantee, but safer than here. The man that you work for works for a man called the Preacher. He's very dangerous. And I'll sort of watch his face as I say.
Yeah, I was about to say his eyes go like slightly wide at the mention. Like he's like, oh, okay, shit, this guy knows.
Have you met the Preacher?
He shakes his head.
I'm gonna insight check him.
Sure.
24.
He hasn't met the Preacher.
Okay. Do you know where he is?
The Preacher? I don't know. I just know where Jura is.
And where's that?
He's just got back. He's in his hideout. You have to go down a sewer grate just on the south side of the Vicar.
Okay. Where do you go to ground in the evenings? Could you have someplace safe to go?
I mean, I pick a few, abandoned buildings or sometimes one of the bunkhouses. But I mean, they all know. They know all the places I sleep.
How old is Morin?
He looks maybe 17, 18.
18. What was the name of the temple?
The Temple of Istus.
The Temple of Istus. Can you make your way to the Temple of Istus?
Yeah, sure.
Your sister is there.
Is that okay? And then what?
You want to go and wait until I come for you.
What if they find me?
How far is the Temple of Istus from here?
It's like on the other side of the city. But it's through like the kind of nicer area, so you wouldn't be walking through like classic Preacher territory.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I will go with you. But wait for me a few moments, and I'll ask him to leave the room.
He nods and like wanders into the front.
So I'm gonna put my mask back on.
Yeah.
And I'll go to the fella who got his hand mostly removed. And I'll try to wake him up. Salts, whatever works.
Yeah, you can bring him to consciousness fairly quickly.
Okay. I'm going to make sure that his spell components are removed.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, it's actually that's an interesting point. So you look and you see that wrapped around his fingers are prayer beads.
Mm-hmm.
And shit, I had a thing. And there's a like small kind of symbol of, I believe it was next. Sorry, I was in the process of transferring over my notes. I missed it. It is a oh man. Yes. It is a small kind of relief of a bound man, like hands and legs bound, and he's got this look on his face of like incredible pain, and like the skin on his back is sort of like peeled up to look like wings. In this, it's like a tiny little but very, very intricate sort of little statue around these prayer beads that he's sort of holding in his fingers, and you saw him channel his energy through.
Well, I will take that.
Cool.
And I'll wait for him to come too.
Yeah, and he sort of like lets out this kind of low moan, clutches at his hand, and and kind of like stares up at you with bleary eyes.
Do you know me?
I know of you, yes.
Then you know I am an old friend of your master's.
They have a reward out for the masked one.
I'm sure they do. Do you know where I can find the preacher?
If I did, I would die first before revealing it.
I'm going to insight check him.
Yeah, sure.
That's a 20.
You are getting a very, very zealous vibe off this man. He is fully bought in. He doesn't seem scared or like, I've got to do this to protect my family. He's more like got this burning loyalty to the preacher that seems to make him very proud. Like, I'm so loyal, you know, I would never betray the preacher. And he seems very proud of that fact. And he's got this big kind of bloody grin on his face.
You seem like a devoted man. I don't doubt that you would die before telling me anything. Tell me, what is the root of this devotion? What is so holy about this preacher that you would lay down your life for him?
His words, his voice. They speak truth that, once heard, make all the sense in the world. Everything falls into place.
Sorry, I don't know them.
What the fuck was that?
Apparently Siri disagrees with you.
Yeah, that was Alexa, actually. Got all these crazy robot women in my life. He says, he says his words are, they change everything.
And who were you before this change?
I was dead, and now I'm alive. And you get the impression he's speaking like metaphorically.
Yeah.
Very much religious bullshit.
What happens to the slaves that have been taken? Do you know what's happened to Ethan?
Ethan? Huh. I've never heard that name. And he grins.
Insight check. 20 again.
Okay. You are... Okay, you think he is grinning at you because he knows that you're looking for something and he's enjoying denying you the ability to find it. But you also didn't notice any kind of look of recognition. So you think that he probably doesn't know who Ethan is, but also is maybe pretending like he does just to piss you off.
Okay, well, that works. I'm going to grab his partially severed hand and begin to squeeze and twist.
He like gasps and...
You know, I have remarkable medical knowledge that not many in the world possess. I very much doubt that if I were to pull this off you right now, that you could use your magics to regenerate it. Am I correct?
He just like spits and gasps.
It is within my power to reattach the tendons and suture the skin and potentially allow your hand to regain functionality. Certainly with a man of your magical capability, there should be no problem to heal beyond that point. And I'll release.
Fuck you, he growls.
There's nothing I can say to persuade you then to assist me.
My life and my death are...
Oh, good friend, understand, you will not die here. I promise you that. Your life is safe.
And he's starting to look a little bit faint with the pain. But he's like clearly keeping up this determined act.
I plan to send you back to your master. How you return to him is up to you. What use will you be, mangled and broken, ashamed, covered in your own blood and piss?
I have my loyalty, my devotion. That is all I need.
You twist his hand right off.
He just lets out this blood-curdling scream and passes out. And you have a hand.
I sure do.
Write that down.
I am going to take a few moments and write a note for the preacher, and I'm going to, care of Jura the Trapper. And I am going to roll it up, tie it into the hand, and leave the hand on him.
Nice. Inspiration.
And then I'm going to go get Morin, and we're going to leave.
What does the note say?
I'll think of it later.
Cool. No problemo. So, you are going to go take Morin to the temple, correct? Okay. Roll me a quick perception check as you're traveling.
Sure. I'll try to take him along the back alleys and stuff.
Absolutely.
Quick perception check. He is a 26.
Yeah, okay. So you kind of wander around, heading through the back alleys, trying not to look conspicuous. You don't feel like you're being followed, though you do notice a man, the Mockingbird, but he is not in his usual
plumage.
God, yeah, he looks, he's dressed in like extremely simple kind of ragged clothing and is sweeping just outside a doorway of an inn and kind of gives you a wink as you pass.
Okay.
Doesn't.
I won't bother him.
Cool. But yeah, you arrive at the Temple of Istus.
When I arrive, I'll call out, Tira?
You see, for a moment, like nothing happens. And then you see a familiar face of the woman who you left here with. Sort of like, she kind of comes around a corner and regards you for a moment, realizes you're the same person, and then beckons Tira out. And Tira like sees her brother and lets out like a happy squeal of laughter and like runs up and like hugs him, and he kind of stumbles and like almost falls back. And the woman approaches and she says, you found his brother?
I did. Could you come this way with me? And I'll kind of gesture her away from them.
She nods and follows you.
He's a troubled young man. He is addicted to a drug called Aldok Leaf. It's unknown, largely unknown in this part of the world, but it causes a great deal of sickness. I have taken from him what he once possessed, the leaves themselves, but he will struggle in the coming days with his urges. I had hoped that I could, again, lead you with a deposit to see to his well-being. My hope in the near future is to get them both out of the country. But until then, I hope they can stay here with you.
She nods. That should be no problem.
Has she been in any trouble?
She kind of chuckles a little bit. She's a very smart girl. She hasn't been any trouble, but I think soon she'll be running rings around all of us.
I'm quite sure. Tell me, has there been anyone else here to inquire about her?
No. Though one young man did come by asking about someone who maybe fit your description, but he was sent away empty-handed.
A young man, you say?
Yes.
Could you describe him?
He about average height, very short brown hair and light brown beard.
Did you say not Ashari?
Not Ashari.
Does that sound like anybody I know?
No, you don't. You haven't seen anyone who fits this description.
Okay.
You definitely think, like, it's, you know, non-Ashari people in Ashar are quite rare. And so that people like that usually stick out in people's memory. But no one you've seen fits that description.
Brown hair, brown beard, average looking?
Average height.
Average height.
Did he speak with an accent like mine?
Not especially like yours, no. It
Okay.
was quite thick, you know, sort of oafish.
That could describe a lot of lamenters, I'm afraid.
She chuckles.
Very well. I thank you again for the great service you've done to me and to these children.
She gives you a pious nod.
I return a appreciative bow. I don't know. And then I'll go over to Morin and Tira. Tira, how are you, dear?
Ah, Mr. Declan, it is you. I am very well, thank you.
I'm so glad to hear. Your brother's back. He's been a little sick, so he'll need some help being looked after. You think you can take care of him?
Yes, Mr. Declan, he is looking very sick.
I think he'll need some soup and some bed rest.
I have soup.
I hope the beds here are more cozy than the ones you're accustomed to.
She gives you like a big smiling nod.
That's good. Morin, I can trust you to stay here with your sister and look after her as well.
He nods and kind of rubs his head. I won't go anywhere.
Good. Remember the leaf, though tempting, it will only lead you down a path of destruction. You have a second chance. Make good use.
Sort of looks like he's about to say something and then thinks better of it and then decides to say it. He sort of has a thing and he says that they gave it to me. I used to learn at the halls, but they didn't want me using magic, I think. So they gave it to me. But they said it would help.
I didn't realize you were a sorcerer.
He nods once.
It's a remarkable skill. Well, get yourself healthy. You may find yourself of use to someone someday.
Thank you.
Of course. Is there anything else you can tell me about your employer? I mean to have words with him.
Only that you should be careful if you're going after him. His hideout is a labyrinth, and it is full of traps and beasts and things that he keeps. He's extremely paranoid, and anyone who tries to go after him will have a difficult time.
Sounds like a job for someone with my set of skills. Luckily, I have some friends to assist me as well. I'll see you both soon.
Good. And he sort of like nods and Tira's like yanking on his hand to pull him towards some soup.
And I'll head out and await the return of my wayward party.
Cool. So by the time you sort of get back to your place, it's like mid-afternoon, late afternoon. And I imagine you wouldn't see them for the rest of the night. And then the next morning is when Yuki was interrogated. So we'll skip to just after Yuki has been slain. Declan, you can either stay where you are, go in search of them, up to you.
Yeah, if they haven't come to me, I'll go to the butcher shop if I think that's where they are.
Cool. That would be a reasonable.
Would you go down in it, or would you wait for us outside?
I mean, I'm not like banished from there, right?
No.
Yeah, I'll go in.
Okay.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Look who's not too good.
Whoa. Declan came inside.
Selling myself with these people.
You get a fairly dirty look from Quincy, the doorman, but he lets you in. And yeah, you would see the rest of the group all doing X. What are you all doing?
Did I know you guys went into the car?
Yeah.
Yes.
We said we were going that way, basically, and you were like, oh, I'm going to do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
I think if this is like right after the interrogation, he would see Makood first because Makood left first.
Mm. Okay.
Then Bryn left, right?
Yes, because Abarashmina would have stayed behind to perform some rites over the Arakokra.
I'd like to think that Makood was already maybe at the bar when he came in because I left earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where Makood is.
Cocktail.
Ooh. Greetings,
I don't
friends. You don't think what?
Sorry. No, I don't think he has a drink, which maybe is the first sign that something is
amiss.
Different. But yeah, he's just sitting there like hunched.
How fare you, friends? What is the cause of this shadow that hangs over you so?
It's a bit of a complicated story.
I think you get like one of those like rapid kind of ear flicks or something. He's like he's just bothered, and he kind of like looks at Bryn and Bryn gives a reply.
Makood, I'm sorry. I did what she asked me to do.
I'm sorry. Who asked you to do what?
We found the Aarakocra that had been following us. It's as we feared. She was connected to the preacher. And
now she's dead.
Yes. If it's any consolation, we did try to persuade her to I don't even think join our side is the right word. Maybe go a different way. Rethink her actions. But the preacher had her wife.
Well, I'm sure you did all you could. Were you able to learn anything from her?
Yes. It appears that the preacher knows a great deal about us, more than even we know.
More than we know about ourselves, or more than we know about him?
More than we were thinking he knew about us.
I see. Does he know our names?
He knows our names. He may be aware of Tira, where Tira is.
What indication did she give you that this was the case?
The preacher knows these things. I mean,
she told you directly that the preacher knows these things.
She told you that she knew where Tira is. She didn't tell you that the preacher necessarily knew where Tira is.
Am I not allowed to? What is with the DMs and keeping me from lying? God.
Are you trying to lie to me?
No. I'm just trying.
No.
No. I'm just trying. Okay, so, but
Well, I will ignore what the DM says, and I will roleplay based on what you tell me. So,
Yeah.
what does Bryn tell me?
Bryn tells you that she didn't necessarily use those exact words. It appears that she was some type of intermediary, sending information back to one of the preacher's disciples, known as the Ghost.
Apostles.
Apostles, disciples.
Difference.
Disciples.
I mean, disciples is. We're not going to go
Honestly,
in
when
there.
the next batch of bosses come in, they'll probably be called the disciples. So
Oh, okay.
we're still waiting for the proof copies.
The only reason I asked Brynhild is because, depending on what exactly she said, there doesn't seem to be much time for her to have relayed information back and forth. The first sighting of this Aarakocra was only a day ago. So if she learned our names in that time before you interrogated her, she may not have had time to send word. She certainly may have.
I think
But whether or
it's been a couple days.
couple days.
Yeah, it's been a few days.
Like two or three, yeah.
And
Yes,
I think
we heard about, this is just C laying down some timeline stuff. We heard about the Aarakocra before we went to Garot's, and we rested a day after Garot's. And then it's been like, we rested before we went to Garot's after hearing about this. And we've rested a day since Garot's. It's been 2 days since we've heard about the Aarakocra looking for us.
Okay.
I did some timeline.
I mean, it's very obvious that this preacher works very quickly and is able to gain his information quickly. I mean, all of this seems to be in response to our actions in the sewers when we stopped the auction, and that's only been several days. For him to put that kind of plan into place, it's very clear to me that he is incredibly powerful, well-connected, and has unlimited resources to throw assassins at us.
It's a dire picture you paint.
It's actually what's happening right now. I mean, the Aarakocra was an assassin sent to kill us in response to our actions in the auction.
Well, he is not trying to downplay the threat. I know exactly what this man is capable of, and he is dangerous. But I do not believe that quantifying his resources as limited is accurate or helpful.
Unlimited.
But, pardon me, unlimited. First of all, why would you bother kidnapping a woman's wife and having her come to assassinate us if you have a fleet of your own assassins to do so?
I mean, she was able to.
It was
Really?
a long-term thing.
Really? I mean, you're gonna squabble with me over which assassins he decided to send, a group of assassins he decided to send after us? He sent an assassin after us not even days, probably hours after what we did.
I'm not trying to squabble. I'm only trying to illustrate that inflating the power of our enemy in our own minds only gives them greater power over us. There is no question we face danger. But we have more information now than we did. And I have learned some things that may give us a path forward.
What have you learned?
Well, in my capacity as one who sits and watches, I sat and I watched, and eventually, as I suspected, our prey came to me. Some of our prey. The man outside my apartment, strung out and sick, is Tira's brother, Murin. Not quite sure how he found his way so coincidentally to my apartment, but we'll call it serendipity.
You did ask him to come to your apartment.
Did I?
Yeah, you left up notes being like, I've got your sister.
Oh,
in
yeah.
That's why he showed up. Yeah.
I forgot.
He didn't just be like, oh, this looks like a good place to squat. Like,
This looks like where I should be puking.
This alley looks like a good place to.
Yep.
No, you said you left up thieves' cant notes.
There is a reason I settled up in Puke Alley.
Yeah. Prime real estate.
It turns out that Murin has been working for Jorah the Trapper, one of the apostles, is a sort of courier picking up presumably contraband and money from one dead drop and moving it to another. Two of the trapper's agents came by shortly after I had followed him and accosted him, and I intervened. I was able to get information primarily from Morin once he was sober, but though they were unwilling to share, these would-be assassins gave some information with their silence. It seems that this preacher has a sort of religious hold over his followers, and these men, at least one of them, was a wielder of divine magic, which means that the preacher may be divine in his own way, perhaps, either one who carries divine power of his own right, or a high priest of some dark god. He did carry this, and I'll show, what was it, a pendant with a relief on it? Right?
Prayer beads, yeah.
Prayer beads.
So like a sort of bracelet type dealio.
I'll show the prayer beads to Bryn and Makut if he's paying attention.
Yeah, so you guys would see, again, these prayer beads, sort of like just white beads on a piece of string, and with this sort of relief of a flayed, bound man in terrible pain.
Charming religion, I'm sure. Does it mean anything to you?
Bells? Yeah.
Religion checks from anyone native to Ashar. In fact, anyone not native to Ashar. I don't know why I said that.
Ooh.
I was gonna
Not
say
necessarily native to Ashar. Anyone can make religion checks.
Anybody can make a religion check.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't let you make it earlier, Declan. You've just had some time to think about it.
Yeah, it's 15.
You can make it now if you wish.
It's 15.
No.
9.
No.
Yeah, I got
I
time.
rolled
for no
13, but -2, so 11.
Yes.
I was gonna ask about how long will it take Mina's little thing. Like, I'm imagining she's like doing some kind of ritual about passing into the Watcher's Night or whatever.
Yeah.
So like sacred
Well, I
flame
think-
to like cremate the body, scatter ashes,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
So I think just in terms of narrative and not having repetition, like maybe Declan shows up just as she's finishing and like joining the others.
I was
So
just
she
gonna
could
say I
maybe-
could like just walk up and be like, "What is that symbol?" as I roll a check.
Yeah, well then it avoids us having to repeat all of the
Yeah. Okay.
the combo that's just happened.
Then I've just been really quiet this whole entire time because I thought I
You
wasn't
could
there.
get filled
Like-
in the...
Yeah,
It's-
Quincy's like, she's like, what's going on? And the Uvia, the barman's like, hey, so this is what basically happened.
I rolled shit, so it's okay.
No, none of you have seen this symbol before.
Makut like grabs the bottom of it and kind of like holds it up closer. It is a human figure, humanoid.
Appears to be a human.
Okay. He just kind of like hackles Ray's, and he kind of just like, lets go of it a little forcefully and says, "More human beings being terrible to each other."
We do have a propensity to that.
The
Not familiar to you either, Mina.
she shakes her head. I will say that the Arakokra did mention that she had met with either the ghost Madir or an agent who was posing as her. But if I recall, she did not say that she had reported back. She had gotten her assignment. So it's possible that whatever she learned has not been passed on, but we should not assume that as such.
It is perhaps wiser to assume that it has.
Mina nods again.
Well, I think I have found us the location of the trapper. And it sounds like we may have a lead on the ghost as well.
She said that she met with her in X part of town, because I did not write that down because I am dumb.
Said she met with who?
Someone she thought was the ghost, but might not have been the ghost on closer inspection.
I don't believe she gave you a location.
Yeah.
I thought she gave us
some sort of mural or fountain or something.
Yeah, a fountain in X part of town. She actually said like a part of town that this fountain was in.
All right, I'll have to go back and watch that because that was just Liam. I didn't tell him that.
Oh, okay.
No, the only thing I said to Liam was that he never actually was able to see Madar.
Yes.
She was speaking to him from behind a curtain, or she was speaking to her from behind a curtain. So there was like a, she could see Madar's silhouette, and she had like a.
But that was a woman's voice. She
Yes,
was able to
and
confirm
an interesting accent at that.
They all hide behind masks. I spoke to the ghost once behind a gorgeous jade statue in a hidden corner of a show. We spoke a melody. We spoke her in a melody voice. She spoke of you.
Melodious.
Well, Dan, I love you.
I knew Dan would.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I have. Now I've got to fucking come up with a jade statue. But no, the jade statue was inside in a hidden corner of a shop, so you did not get a location.
Okay.
Well, before we take any further steps, I would like to know more about this cult, whatever it is. Mina, where would we go for some scholarly insight?
There are the halls of Lotus. That is where all of the magic users go for learning here.
Religious historians?
No, that's more arcane in nature. Is there a temple to some god of knowledge in Ashar?
There is not. There are basically three main sources. There's the academy, but you don't go to the academy, the Barakados Academy. There is the halls, which has a very large library filled with mostly arcane stuff, but stuff about all kinds of other stuff. And there is just like a sort of public library as well that has like, it's like records and like you definitely feel confident that like every religion that's ever been in Ashar has probably got some kind of
entry there.
Yeah.
What was the first place? Sorry.
The Barakados Academy.
Is that the what academy?
I'm typing it.
Okay.
Well, I am generally quite a fan of libraries. I think that might be a good place to start.
We also, in our investigation of the Vakar, we met someone who was studying the sandworm that was there. He found a notebook that he shared with us, and Mina will pull it out. Haven't had a chance to inspect it yet.
May I?
Mina will hand it over to Declan.
Oh shit! The DM's prepared. So, this notebook sort of fairly like ragged, weird, well used, kind of sandy, smelling a bit foul. But you open it and most of the pages, like loads and loads and loads of pages have been ripped out. It's like almost the first half of it has been ripped out. And there is only one page, the top page, that has any writing on it, and all the pages after that are blank. Declan, you probably think like someone writes something and then tears out the page and then writes something on the next. Like it's more of like a notepad than an actual book. And this is what it says on the page. Hopefully, you all can read that. I'll read it to you just in case. It says, I command thee, Earthbreaker, I own thee, Sandshifter, for I have thy name and number. Thy name is Inur the Bane. Thy number is 39, thou art mine. And you see there are numbers beneath the words Inur the Bane that have been scribbled there in some other hand by someone else.
The number under the letter Y is a 5?
It is.
Okay.
The same with the T.
Do you have the image for that?
I do.
Thanks.
Glorious.
I was like, this is probably the easiest way to do this in internet land. So I made a little image for you all.
That's going to be a fucking pain for me to write numbers underneath the things.
100%. Yeah, I had the image all ready to send over and everything.
And she will also say that we found more of the sandworm scales, but they were smaller and had the number 39. And according to the wizard we spoke to, that is because it belonged to this Yanur. They named the sandworm.
Seems like the name predates them.
But that also means that, well, as according to this expert, that sandworm is very small for a sandworm, very young. So that means that, and she points to her shield, this is much from a much larger sandworm, and it also has number. So it's possible that that's number, if someone has that name and number. She kind of trails off. If you get my meaning.
I think Declan probably does. He goes, but Dylan might not get it.
If this thing was being controlled because that had its name and number, there's a sandworm out there that's nearly twice the size that has been numbered and named.
Got it.
So someone could be controlling it, is what she's trying to get at.
Yes. Most likely. Well, the question is, we can assume then that the man who first assaulted the Bakar was maybe even the man who wrote this.
Rob, just because I'm trying to clarify, the E's and the Y have the same number, and the T, they're all fives?
Yep.
That makes the cipher much harder.
It does, but you didn't think I was going to give you something easy, did you?
I fucking hate ciphers. Okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the font being funky.
I mean, it is a pretty funky font. But I will give you some OOC advice for this, which is keep track of your numbers and letters.
Just in general?
I mean, you know, with regards to the cipher. You know. But yeah, it probably helps if you retain the knowledge of numbers and letters in your day-to-day.
Too bad. Makud doesn't have them to begin with.
Oh, it's those strange squiggles again.
Yeah.
I wonder if sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
I wonder if perhaps this particular adventure, this particular path, might not be better handled by the authorities of the city. It seems not even adjacent to our stated goals. And if we brought this information to the ruling class, the law here, it may buy us some credit as legitimate brokers of goodwill in the city. We may even be able to leverage it into information that would help us on our larger quest.
Hmm.
I have a hard time understanding why these sandworms are my problem, I suppose is what I'm saying.
I believe it is more that the authorities don't seem to be interested in investigating this at all. They seemed content to let the vicar rot without any sort of investigation into what happened and why. They removed the bodies and locked the door, and that was about as far as it went. We had...
Well, we don't know what they're doing behind closed doors.
From what I gathered, we were the first ones to go to that place besides the wizard that we had met there, and he had snuck in. He did not seem to be all right in the head. Overly obsessed with sandworm excretions.
Well, I'm sure they're fascinating.
Perhaps you might have gotten along with him. He did mention something about dirt deposits and water soluble things. I honestly didn't understand.
Well, that does sound like the sort of thing I find fascinating, yes. But that would be my suggested course of action. If you all wish to pursue this, that's fine. I will assist you. But I think this information better serves us if we bring it to the authorities. But that could prove not.
Mina isn't sure if she feels comfortable pretending like it isn't a problem that they can help with, but she kind of like glances at Makud to see what he thinks. She has a hard time getting the foreigners to understand why the Vicar and the things that happen there are important.
Okay, 1 second. Makud kind of like stirs, and you're mostly like talking around him. And Makud, without really turning around, this preacher, he is your problem, and he is your problem, and he like points to Declan, and then points to Bryn, and then he is our problem, and he points between Mina and him. We all fight to solve each other's problems. These sandworm, these squiggles, whatever the moon elves decide to do is our problem. And he points to Mina and him. And then it is your problem. And he points to both of the other two. Because we fight to solve each other's problems.
Inspiration, Dad.
That was what we agreed upon, correct? I thought.
Oh, I'm not disputing the elegance of your logic, Makud. I'm only saying that we all agreed to pursue the preacher because he had taken those dear to us, I understood.
Dear to you.
Thought
we do not even know if he has Bryn's folk.
That's true.
Yes, I've seen no evidence. This seems to suggest that. I mean, I would hope that if we find that you know, the person that I'm looking for is not connected to the preacher, that we don't simply put that on the back burner.
Of course.
Because the preacher takes priority.
The preacher has become a more immediate problem for all of us because he is currently sending assassins after all of us, irregardless of our connection to you, Mr. Declan.
I have given my word to you all that I will stand by your side until all of this is resolved. And if you are resolved yourselves to investigate this sandworm magic or whatever it is, then I will follow and I will assist.
There is some person who is causing madness in our city. It goes beyond controlling sandworms. They controlled people as well.
I understand. I still believe that even if they refuse to help, we are not harmed and could be helped by taking all of this information to the authorities. They may reject us out of hand, but we may also buy ourselves allies, resources, standing.
We do happen to know a member of the council. Could always bring it up to Sharat and see what the council is doing.
I personally would not rather deal exclusively with Sharat, but
he is a contact that we know that seems to like us.
I agree.
Would be wise to.
It's our best course of action. Unless you know another council member.
I think you know that I don't.
The council is where we should go. The elves will not care. I do not think.
Unless they care for one of their great institutions being interrupted.
The Vakar is a human thing in the Shar, not elven. That is why you do not see many of the Ekroksani at the Vakar.
Tell me, what is it that gives the elves power over this city?
The Ashar belief that it is a little bit half worship, half ruling. There is myth and story and magic with the elves.
And they are crazy rich.
Yes. Again, that's going to be hard to explain.
Maku just clears his throat and he's still not really looking. He's swiveled round again or something, and he's just they get into your heart.
So they are persuasive, charismatic, and financially stable leaders.
Who give the humans just enough of what they want and just enough power that they don't rise up against them.
The elves are for the Ashar, the elves are like gods on earth. You do not usurp them. You do not.
Then
she
why
kind of flounders a little bit.
Then why not stamp out all other forms of religion? Wouldn't it be dangerous?
They do not. The religions of man do not bother them.
Do you think of them this way, Mina?
I am, as they say, I am God-touched, just as some believe the elves are. My connection is to He Who Watches. It has always been so. there is proof of my connection. Whether or not the elves are, it has always been this way. You can tell like Mina's having like a hard time putting into words because it's like it's like for her, it's kind of, you get the impression that for a lot of people, the elves are like gods walking on earth, and like, you know, you bow down and you do whatever for them. And for her, it's kind of like she sees why people do that, but she doesn't quite, because she's got like her own thing. It's not quite the same for her, she feels.
Okay. Well, I will press you no further. Either way, if we are generally agreed that our first priority is to find the preacher and thereby protect ourselves and those we care for, I believe it is imperative that we have whatever resources we can marshal and whatever information we can gather before that point.
I will concede that this issue with the Vicar, I do not know where we would go next to find out more. So
either way, a library is always a good start.
We did manage to, from the wizard, I got a rose quartz. So at some point we should return to the veiled ghost and see what she will offer for it.
The veiled, the ghost, the apostle, or the ghost,
the Bell Witch.
The Bell Witch.
Got it.
The actual ghost that we know. We haven't heard her call herself the Bell Witch. So
okay.
I think she might have done in the first time, but as like people call me this.
I think she said, yeah.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Like,
okay.
You're all like, who are you? And she's like, I'm the Bell Witch. I want this place.
No. Then that's Sadie doing a dumb then.
What time is it currently, Rob?
Morning.
4 minutes past midnight, mate. No, it's I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. It's about like midday-ish, probably. Like morning's sort of been and gone.
Okay, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, probably just past midday, to be honest.
Okay.
You know, not too far.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm off to the library.
I think it would be best if we all go together, unless we're in the confines of this place. I mean,
quite welcome.
I think it's, I mean, the bird nearly killed 3 of us, and I'm sure the preacher will send more assassins.
I'd be glad for the company.
Makud kind of screws his face up a little bit. He's just going to say mostly to Mina, but the others can hear. We went to the Vicar. We said we would go to Abjani. If Declan wants funding, Abjani has a lot of funds.
I didn't realize that you had a previous engagement. We can go to Abjani first.
Abjani promised Makud and I payment if we manage to clear out the Vicar for him. I'm not sure it is currently occupied, but perhaps he will pay us anyway.
Well, it certainly never hurts to try.
I'd also just like it officially stated that his name has never been Ajani. His name is Ajana.
Ajana.
Okay.
Just saying.
I feel I picked that up from C. And
yeah,
Makud
that's another
listens to,
C-ism.
Okay.
Shal Ab Jana.
Yeah.
Sure.
Shal is a first name or a title?
No.
Shah
title.
Shah means like Lord.
Got it.
And like a female version of that is Shala.
Got it.
Unless you're talking to Maya, and then it's Shaletha because you're calling her a trickster.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate conglomeration of language, but it's fine. I think we'll probably take a quick 5-minute buy right there, and then come back for research and extortion of payment.
Mhm.
We had to like turn in our quests, you guys.
Right?
We have a rose quartz to turn in, and we have a Vakar key to turn in.
Did the ghost want lots of rose quartz or just
She just
a rose
said
quartz?
a rose quartz.
Okay.
So return here with a rose quartz for another reward or something like that.
Okay.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah, Dune, the ASMR guy in the Six Eyes, asks that whenever we go after the preacher that he comes with us to help because he feels that's his path.
Which guy?
The
The guy with
ASMR.
the bird,
Mhm.
if you remember.
Right.
And it showed that there was a very long conversation between Mina and him that was very awkward in true C fashion.
Hey, I wasn't the awkward one. He was the awkward one.
Is this Dune?
Yeah.
Yes.
Super awkward, dude.
Dune is the
He
awkward
doesn't
one.
know how to talk to people.
Mina is just all like, I'll just continue to ask you questions.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Ashari locals would also like, and actually probably everyone who will have heard of the Barakados Academy. It's pretty famous. It's like, in game terms, it's where they train Eldritch Knights. But in like Ashari, it's basically like super, super high honor to have your kid or whatever go there. Or like it's super hard to get into, but they like break people. And it's sort of like they come out the other side as like, you know, either these sort of mindless warriors who can basically beat anyone in a fight, or like, you know, Vietnam vets who struggle with, you know, a lot of things. And like often they end up as like bouncers and you know, like end up doing jobs way below their station all across Lament just because they have trouble with conflict and stuff. But like they're, as warriors, they're like very much unparalleled.
The ones that actually make it through all the way.
Yeah, exactly. Like most fail. But yeah, if you make it all the way through, then yeah, you're pretty badass Eldritch Knight.
Wasn't one of the wizard dudes near the end of campaign 1 from that academy, or was he just from the Lotus one?
The wizard.
Quirrell. Quirrell? The Ashari wizard
yes.
that
No, he is
Byron
he
recruited.
is Halls of Lotus.
He's Lotus? Okay.
The halls do not like the academy. Because the halls are like, let's research and like learn shit, man. And the academy's like, all right, this spell will fucking snap a dude's spine and make him eat it. So they're like a bit more hardcore. You know. You don't want to piss off or like make any loud noises around someone who's made it through that academy. But then like to be like, oh, my son is or my daughter is a graduate of the Barakados Academy is like, holy shit, there's like maybe, you know, 10 people in this town who could survive longer than like a minute against that person.
So I have a question about that
Yeah.
clue cipher. Is it written in Ashari or is it written in Common?
It is written in Ashari.
All right.
So Bryn couldn't read it.
Sure.
I'm kidding.
Which I would all just like you to know that it took Jade less than 4 minutes to figure it out. So you're all slacking.
What?
Yeah.
What are we supposed to figure out? It's already
I don't
solved,
know.
isn't it?
Figure it out.
No, the message is solved, right? But I
Yeah.
cracked the cipher
Yeah.
to solve other things.
It's actually a fairly
No.
simple cipher.
Yeah.
Now I feel-
It's not designed to be like, haha, one day they'll
Yeah.
eventually
I
figure it out.
legit, I am like, unless it's like, 1 through 26, I'm fucked on the cipher, on these kinds of cipher things. Unless it's like, 1 equals 1, 2 equals 2, or, 1 equals A.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like the fact that like the numbers repeated, I was like, nope, never gonna figure it out. Fuck it, just table tossed, and someone else can get it.
Well,
I'm
Someone
glad.
else did.
I'm so glad that Jade is smarter than me.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd say that, but
Well, because at first I was all like, oh well, but, and then I was like, no, well that doesn't work because you have a Y and a T and an E all with the same number.
So this is the kind of thing that Declan would be really good at, but I am terrible at.
Yeah. Can I roll an intelligence check for a hint?
well, that's the thing. Is it also is very important as to whether or not it's written in Ashari, as to whether or not Bryn would share.
It's in Ashari.
That she could crack that cipher.
Oh.
Which is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Makud would absolutely never, because he can't. He barely can read, let alone see numbers.
Yeah, Makud doesn't know the difference between letters and numbers written on a page. So
that's a squiggle, and that's another squiggle.
Yeah. What is the difference between those two? That's an I. That's a 1. They're the same fucking thing.
Also, Dan has had 4 hours sleep and is trying to write this thing down word for word, so I have no brain power left over.
Oh, Dan, you're a hero.
To do riddles. Whatever brain power I have left is to lift the beer to my mouth and drink the beer and then put it back down again.
Well, we've been going like an hour and 45, so we probably won't be much longer than.
Okay, I mean I'm still doing okay, but I'm not going to solve this riddle right now.
Let me know if you're wilting and you need to call it a day early. But yeah, we probably won't go much beyond like 3 hours, I imagine.
Also, my writer's a completely idiotic character not to be involved in riddles.
Yep.
That's what I'm claiming.
I hereby claim my riddle exemption.
You do it, man. Claim it.
I don't know how to figure these out.
Well, Jade, you're not allowed to tell them. They got to figure out.
Oh, really?
Mina's intelligence is only 12. She's not going to figure it out.
Well, let's hope C's intelligence is higher.
Nope. Like I said, like if the cipher isn't 1 through 26.
Such a simple cipher. Come on.
No. What am I supposed to do?
You do it.
No, it's not as simple.
It literally took Jade like 3.5 minutes. Like less than 4 minutes.
Fuck you, Jade.
I can actually tell you exactly how long. So
I mean, some of that was finding paper.
Yeah. Okay. So the cipher, I was exaggerating a bit. Exactly 10 minutes it took her to figure it out. I sent the image to the group chat at 11:46, and I received the solved thing from her at 11:56.
What are you solving?
I mean, she can if she really wants. I was just.
She
I just like to force the
pretend.
other two to try and figure it out, or else
She
it's
wants
very.
to pretend like Bryn doesn't know how to read Ashari.
Okay, fine.
Oh, I see.
You're gonna share it right now?
I mean, I could.
You could.
She's
It
not
would
gonna.
be quite funny just to watch them have to figure it out.
I mean, I'm not gonna because I
I'm
have
gonna-
I have no idea how to solve ciphers like this. So
Did it?
Can I roll an intelligence check to figure it out?
Yeah, especially if you look at the group chat.
You guys can do with that information what you will.
It doesn't really get you anywhere.
No, it doesn't, because we don't have any other clues.
Now we know.
Well, all we know is that the next one, that the other one that we're aware of has a number that equals 60.
Yeah.
When it's added up. So it's not probably a much longer name because it's probably something, the something's.
Or it's lots of 5s and 4s.
Yeah, maybe.
Very nice. Well, we're all back, I think.
Yeah.
All right, we'll wait for Dan.
Okay.
So what would we all like to do?
Is Abjana on the way to library? Or another library?
Not on the way, but very nearby.
Okay.
Quick, easy detour.
Yeah. Like because he lives in the southeast part of town, which is like the poshest area, and the library is in the southeast part of town. So he'll be he'll probably live like one street away from the library.
Well, to Alabjana's house.
Very well. So you guys head down that way, arrive at the very fancy-looking mansion that is Charles Abajana's house. And you can see that it doesn't look in any better state than you found it last time.
If I was any other character, I would tell them, be prepared, and this guy's completely off his face. But like, just gonna walk.
Yeah. You go to knock on the door, and it just swings open. It was never locked or closed. And the house just is like a mess. Filthy. Hasn't been cleaned or tidied in days. Pretty much as you left it last time.
Is he drunk in the same room we left him in?
No.
We left him like face down in the hallway. So
yeah, you left him face down in the foyer.
Yeah.
And he's not there anymore.
He's not face down in the foyer.
Can we hear him at all?
No.
Hello?
You hear like a crash upstairs.
I think he's upstairs.
Cood goes stomping upstairs.
Okay. You arrive at the top of the stairs to see Charles Abajana in an open like nightgown that's buttoned at the neck, and then he's not buttoned the rest of the buttons because that seemed like too much effort. So it's just open and he's naked beneath it, and it's sort of hanging open. But he is lying on his front, coming out of a bedroom, and there is a cabinet lying half on top of him, and a round bottle of wine rolling out of his grip. And he's just letting out like a soft moan. He doesn't look hurt, but he looks like he's not going to be able to get himself out of this predicament.
Makud, would you move the cabinet and I will pull him out?
Cood goes for the wine bottle first and then the cabinet.
All right.
Good man.
Make me a quick athletics check, Makud, just for...
Shits and giggles.
Gonna put that thing through the wall.
16?
Yeah, easy. Lift it up. It's not particularly heavy. All the clothes that were in it and like all the drawers like fall open and everything pours out on top of him. But he just lets out a moan.
Having a rough day, chap. I'll kind of throw him up on the bed.
Oh, he is very fat, but you can sort of like coax him to his feet and get him on the bed.
Yeah.
And he just lies like legs akimbo, arms wide, gown open.
Well, you had words. I'll say to Makud.
We went to leave a car. They have
He
taken the bodies of the people, but the worm still lays there. There was some man with some bedeviled pots and the bird person, and he kind of like waves his arms a little bit in Mina's direction.
He like sits up, or tries to, when you mention the Vicar, kind of rubs at his eyes. He says, "It's clear. You've fixed it like you said you were going to."
Well, there are no dead bodies. There is a man that is studying the sandworm, but he is harmless. He has bespelled some pots as a security system, but as long as you do not fight anyone, they are safe enough to be around.
So,
You could probably speak to him.
He kind of sits up and like grabs a chunk of Makood's hair to pull himself up into a sitting position, and like kind of swings his legs off the bed and kind of stands up, tottering slightly. Says, "I will speak to him at once. The Vicar shall open again." And he like tries to stumble past you.
Perhaps you'd better sober yourself up first. Would you like some food?
Food is for the
hungry.
Actually, yes, I would like some food.
Let's fix you something, yeah? And I'll kind of like usher him downstairs. Tell me, why has no one from the authority in the city come to clean the Vicar?
The Vicar is mine. It is not those Bonsi elves.
So why have you not paid anyone to do it?
What?
He was going to pay us, and Abrashmina will hold out a hand.
Oh, you now?
That is what you agreed upon. We would go investigate the Vicar, and you would pay us.
I suppose.
I'm sure you would like to keep such capable agents as these happy and in your service in the future.
Make me a persuasion check, Declan.
Natural 20.
He says, yes. Okay. And he sort of like slaps himself a little bit, stumbles down the stairs, and kind of like goes towards a room that's kind of set into the bottom of the stairs, fiddles with a lock and opens it to a vault, kind of down some stairs. And you see there's like shelves all around the room that hold these chests, and they're all open and empty except about 6 of them. And there's maybe like 50 chests in here, but almost all of them seem empty.
Oh, if only I were a different kind of rogue.
Do I get the impression that it once held money, that he's perhaps close to being broke?
He's heading for one now, and he opens it, and it's about 3/4 full of gold pieces. And he begins like scooping some into a bag.
Is this like a he has been going broke for a while type situation, or is this like what he's done to himself since?
Make me an insight check.
Ooh, okay.
Can I do it too?
Nay.
No, I'm rolling bad today, but with a +7, that makes it a 14.
I rolled a 20, dirty 20.
You both really get the impression that he is maybe not the best at saving, and so he sort of made all this money, locked it away, and then but he's like a very big spender, and so his house is like the most lavish on the street, and he's got all these like fine wines and lovely clothes, furniture, all that sort of thing, but he spends a lot of his money, and so you think like it's not just since the Vicar's closed that these chests have been empty. You think these chests have been slowly emptying themselves.
He did pay us $300 gold each to Uber him across town.
Yeah.
So
Like he just throws money around, but he's starting to be like, oh, I may not have. He's doing basically what you do on payday, where you're like, I'm so rich, and then he's like getting towards the end of the month, and he's like, oh no, I have no money.
Oh yes, the Lord Uber, Ashar's god of transport.
It's the patron saint of transportation.
UBAH.
Uber.
How did he unlock this vault?
Yeah. I was going to say Bryn is that kind of rogue.
Yeah,
He unlocked this vault with a key that is currently sitting in the pocket of his nightgown.
All right. Let's see how much he gives us first before I make my next move.
He like weighs up the gold and hands it to Abrishmina. 300 as agreed.
Is that what was agreed?
300 gold.
I can't even remember if we agreed an amount of gold, to be honest.
He's saying that.
I know, but I'm not even sure we did.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Hold
sorry.
on. Hold on. You weren't even here when we made the deal.
I don't even care. 300 gold. Fine, whatever.
I'm not sure Makood particularly cares or knows how much that's worth, but
I mean, think about how much an inn might be.
Well, it's like a quarter of the price right now, right?
Yeah. No, yeah. With this gold, she'll be able to afford it on her own. She doesn't need to go halvesies with you nerds.
I mean, she'll be able to afford the building on her own.
True.
I mean, Makood can already afford that.
Yeah.
And still has 200 left for alcohol. So.
Unfortunately, Declan hasn't told any of you that there's an inn for sale.
And he took the sign out the window, so we will never know.
Yeah. Well, this is a really interesting building. Shame it's empty. Let's go to the library.
Looks prime for independent business.
Makood just like sitting at the library while everyone's researching. Like, it's interesting. I've been looking for ways to invest my money.
Yeah. Tiny glasses get put on and
looking to build up my portfolio with real estate.
Makood's inner Byron comes out.
Abrashmina will take the gold.
Have you found whether we actually promised anything?
I can't find it.
No.
I don't think we did, because I think we just...
I'm going to insight check Ababjana.
Okay. 300 each?
To see it. To see if he's
300 gold.
To see if he's undercutting it. That's a 17.
Yeah, he is defo hoping that you won't. He definitely can't remember what he promised you, but he's defo hoping you won't look into it too much, and that's,
I believe for the life and limb risk that these fine people took on your behalf, it should be 300 each.
That's not what was agreed.
I don't believe you.
He paid us 300 gold each for a walk. I'm thinking probably 500 is a little closer to what we should be talking.
That was an advance.
No, that was the agreed upon price for a walk.
Well, but
My friend, there are dark forces arrayed against your fair city. You are a pillar of the business community. You must open the Vakar to bring hope and joy back to these citizens of this.
And that is what I'm trying to do, but you are trying to fleece me of all my money.
In order to do this, you must have heroes on your side. Heroes such as these.
Ren starts noticeably counting the people in the room standing on her side. 1, 2, 3, 4 against you for all the chests in this room.
Make me an intimidation check.
Bryn, I was doing a thing.
Abrashmina's eyes go a little wide at the blatant threat.
I'm doing it better. That is going to be a 24.
Okay. his eyes go wide and he like steps back. Says, you wouldn't. That
I mean,
No,
I
she
would.
wouldn't.
that's
We're not here
you
to
would
rob.
let this happen, would you? He looks to you, Declan.
I would not, no. But I would say that you will find yourself hopelessly alone should you need the skills of people like us again, unless you pay a fair wage for fair work.
He's like half listening to you, but mostly just staring at Bryn. How about 300 each?
450 each.
300 each is fine. Thank you, Ajana.
Oh, yes. You're very welcome. That's yes. And he like turns and begins shoveling the bags and like thrusting them into each of your hands.
Mina will hand one of the bags to Makud.
Makud is kind of like distracted because he just realized that he opened up, I don't know, some large Minotaur pouch that he had on him, and that's where the wyvern babies were sleeping. So he's like trying to feed them like some meat or something.
What the? Why are there
And he like takes
lizards in your pocket?
Like I imagine he like is silent, and then he opens the pouch or like a pack or whatever, and it's like.
And he's like dangling some meat. Their mother got swallowed by a giant pot. I don't know if that
What are those?
makes it any better for you.
They are wyverns.
You've got the giant flying stinging dragons.
Mina nods.
Yeah, Makud does that. Yeah.
Their mother had nested in the corpse of the sandworm. Makud found this, and their mother was killed by the wizard's giant pot golem thing. It does not make much sense explaining, but you would have had to have been there. Those Makud is the mother now.
Well, I suppose I value all life. Please don't let them out of your sight. Anyway,
We could sell them. Makud, you were thinking about selling them, yes?
He kind of like looks to you and then looks to them, and I'm gonna like make a charisma save or something.
Your pouch is going to be too tiny for them very soon. They grow very big.
Charisma save of 8. How adorable are these wyverns?
These are the most adorable creatures that have ever lived.
Okay, first. Yeah. Sell them sometime, sure, yes. And he kind of like goes back to the bag.
Insight check.
Yeah.
I rolled a dirty 20 on my insight check.
Makud doesn't even know what the word deception means.
Makud, if you
Mm-hmm.
if you want to keep them, you will need some place to raise them. Yes.
So he kind of like looks at you, furrows his brow. Do I have to give them to the temple as well? Like you gave your child?
Don't think the temple would take them. That's not at all what I'm advocating. I'm saying that if you wish to raise children need a home. Shalab Jana.
Yes. He's not just watching this, like trying to sidle past you all.
We will leave you to your business shortly, but I would like to make a proposition.
Okay.
Something that I hope will benefit your coffers. Make you and we more fruitful than we have been so far. If we assist you in whatever it is you need to get the car up and running again, do you think you could use whatever influence you have in the city to help us in our agenda?
I suppose.
And do you think perhaps in that capacity you might allow us to take up residence in the car? I assume it has cages and facilities necessary for the housing of great beasts.
Yes. Though, you know, they are not very nice. He like looks at the giant minotaur like coddling the babies.
Well, I don't think they need feathered pillows. At least not yet.
I mean, the cages are very small and spiked
Why are they spiked?
to make the monsters angry.
That's horrible.
Didn't ask you if it was horrible. And he's like trying to squeeze past Bryn at this point, like get out of the room.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Good day. And he like scuttles away.
We're just in his room, in his house.
Like his terror at Bryn's threat outweighs his need to like be in the room with all his money.
Right.
He did lock it behind him, though. Yes.
The chest, yes.
Okay.
Not the room with all the chests?
Well, no, because you're in that room.
Oh, I assumed
just left us in here?
I assumed we were standing outside.
Yeah,
Okay.
I assume so too, yeah.
Sure.
That's rude to walk into someone's vault being like, "Hey, count my money." So
All right.
I picked.
I mean,
Bryn, please don't make me party to extortion again.
Jade, they helped. I was gonna let you go ham, but they helped.
I know.
I mean, Makuda's going to point out that not all of us went, and not all of us probably deserve payment, but
I didn't get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave 300 gold to each of you.
Oh.
To Bryn and or just Makud and
To each of you.
to each of you, as far as I gathered, he said to each of us.
I said to each of you.
Oh,
Even though Dylan didn't go and Bryn wasn't here when we
He
made
doesn't
the
know
deal.
that. Like, he
I know.
is just assuming you all went, and that you guys. were
he's
just,
so
like,
drunk that he doesn't remember that they weren't there when we made the deal.
Well, not even that. Like, you know, you're here now and threatening him.
Sure.
He's not going to not pay the one who's threatening him, even though she wasn't there in the first case.
Yeah.
Plus, he just assumes you're a wider team. Like, you didn't necessarily have to send everyone to negotiate the deal.
Yeah. That was just me, the player, assuming that it was just Bryn or just Mina and Makud that got money.
Yeah, everyone got
I see.
No, the people you were hanging around with threatened their way into more gold.
No, tried to and was shut down by their own party.
You did harass him into giving us more gold because it was going to be 300 for just me and Makud, and it turned into 300 for 4 of us.
It was going to be 300 for a lot of you.
Everybody.
Yeah. 300 total. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you just.
I mean, yeah, you made 600
harass
gold.
that guy out of another 900 gold.
Another 600.
600.
I mean, but
900. Yeah. Sorry.
900.
Bryn, please don't make me part of you to extortion again.
I think we have done enough for today.
I'll hand my bag of gold over to Bryn. I'll take 100 gold out for myself. That's your 5. And then I'll leave.
I would like to point out that because of the events with the Zufma, when Abrashmina is now walking out and about, she is using her veil.
Okay.
And is also doing the thaumaturgy thing to alter the appearance of her eyes. So that she's not like, just walking around as Abrashmina anymore, because, that would have been a good thing to do last week when all of this stuff started. Abrashmina is being a little bit more careful now.
Okay. So what would you all like to do? It's probably only about 1.
Well, I'd like to head to the library.
Mm-hmm.
The library is close to here, yes? Is the bell tower close as well?
It is.
Or do we all want to be present
No,
for the
they're
bell tower?
all in previous canon, southeast.
Nice. So yes, library, and then perhaps we can go by the bell tower to give the witch the quartz. She
By all
might
means.
give us another question. So we could begin pondering what we might ask.
Yes, the library might help us find information that might pose a question, if that makes
Okay.
sense. It makes sense in my brain.
Yes, it makes perfect sense, my lamentable friend.
So, is everyone heading to the library?
Yeah, I think we established that we all wanted to stay together after, getting ambushed and nearly killed.
Just double checking.
No.
No! Mina hangs
So-
off his horn. Keep going.
The library is a very large, fairly tall for a Shah building, and it has these sort of rows of pillars outside. And you kind of head up the steps towards it, and there's a few guards standing around. But they all seem very bored, like they've got the uninteresting shift. Inside, you kind of walk in, and it's a balcony, and like the actual library itself is sunk, like the interior is sunk like down a level into the floor. So it's very cool in comparison. And you're sort of looking down at a balcony above, just like maybe 100 bookshelves, all just stacked to the gills with scrolls and books. And it looks like there's multiple levels with stairs leading down underground.
Are there any attendants, librarians about?
Yeah, a couple. Just people like with trolleys, like putting books away and stuff.
Well, I am going to look for the religious literature. That's where I'll be.
All right, so we're going to do research on the holy symbol. Yes, and Mina is going to look into Yanur the Bane to see if there's any other thing related to that while we are here.
Anything else anyone would like to research?
I would like to basically accost one of the attendants and go, "How do you look after the wyvern?"
So you like terrify this tiny little man. He's got like a very wispy mustache and soul patch, and this very thin, like lank hair that's kind of desperately trying to stay attached to his head, but not doing a very good job. And his eyes go wide, and he says,
Oh, wyverns, they are in section downstairs.
I also I don't know if, since she's looking up Yanur the Bane, and that is a sandworm from desert, she's also going to look up some other desert folklore, I guess, to see if she can find a place that is mentioned that contains statues, venom, and life.
Okay.
To see if we can decipher the clue the witch gave us about the preacher.
Sure, we'll get to that in a sec.
Okay.
What does Makud say in reply to the man? Or do you?
Is he pointing to like some stairs that goes downwards somewhere?
So a set of steps that go down.
Okay. I think Makud like walks away with confidence, like it's just he's gonna find it.
Yeah.
Whatever direction he goes in, he's just gonna go.
So yeah, you get down, and much to your confusion, instead of useful information about wyverns, you find more books.
That's the perfect reply. Why is there no useless?
I thought this is where the wyvern stuff was.
Yeah.
All these paper sandwiches.
Makes sense of this. What paper sandwiches? Are they like he's gonna go searching for more attendants or something?
Yeah, definitely. There's loads about.
I mean, he would be looking at the books as he goes, but he doesn't. Like they're just squiggles.
Yeah. So you find another attendant, and this one is like kind of round, short, fat, bald head, and he's wearing this sort of robe that's slightly too small for him, and his kind of muffin topping over the top of. And he says, his eye. He kind of looks up at you through glasses, and his eyes don't quite open all the way. So he sort of looks like half asleep, and he looks like up, kind of past his nose at you. Says, "What can I help you with, sir?"
And I need to find out how to look after Wyvern.
Yes,
And he like
okay.
opens the bag and basically like shoves it in his direction.
the man says like is about to kind of take him off in search of wyvern-based books, and then his eyes go wide at the sight of actual wyverns in front of him. So you cannot have those in here.
He kind of like looks around. What? Why not?
They will damage the books. Come on, out you go, out, out. And he starts like pushing on Makood's thigh.
Like just go anywhere. They not damage anything apart from what I feed them.
Yes,
and he kind of looks at the fan.
Are you trying to threaten him?
Not intentionally.
Yeah.
I can roll intimidation if you want.
Intimidation roll.
Sure. It's a skill he's actually proficient in.
Okay, yeah, go for
it. 17.
He the man again, eyes wide, kind of takes a step away and says, "Oh, in that case, I will show you." And he like turns around and like waddles off, and kind of indicates like a small one bookshelf, which is full of books. I was about to describe, and then I was like, well, you know, the books. And it's Makood. They're various colors.
Makood just like, I think, like, just grabs, you know, an unusually high amount of books off a shelf and just puts them like onto a table. Now what?
Now you read them, and they will give you the information. Sort of like looks around like he's trying to find someone else to help him.
Ellie, read them, and he kind of like heavily opens one of them, but this is just squiggles.
The squiggles are words that are written. I have.
He sits down very heavily. Tell me words.
He like sighs and kind of rubs his head. I can help you. And he like sits down next to you, sort of slides the book across to himself, and he says, "This one is called Wyvern Care from Egg to what is it? To Giant Beast of Destruction." No, that's probably not a. And he like slides that one away.
Start at Little Beast of Destruction.
Oh,
skip the egg bit.
So yeah, he finds your book and begins to read, and it essentially the information you glean and what you retain is feed them small bits of meat until they grow bigger, and then feed them bigger bits of meat. You can't really go wrong. The only thing is like things like grooming and cleaning and making sure their nails and teeth are sharp enough. But that is definitely a process that takes a while. So we will allow everyone else. So Declan, we can do you. In fact, you're eating if you wanna do Arishina first. Okay. So if you want to make an investigation check to find your religious things.
Natural 20.
Okay.
For a total of 29.
So you quickly find the religious section. It's almost an entire floor. But somehow you're able to just, they use a very, very standard, like easy to understand system of sorting books, and referencing. And so you're able to quickly find what you're looking for. And eventually you find the information you're looking for in a book of like ancient Ashari religions. It seems Ashar has had a fairly interesting relationship with gods where they've sort of come and gone a bit more often than in the rest of Neath. And you find you're kind of flipping through, just skimming, looking for things, and you find you stop at a full page image of a man, hands bound and feet bound, back flayed open, and you quickly begin to read about this deity known as the Lashed, and he is, as far as you can tell, the book is fairly light on information. It's more of like a whistle-stop tour type thing, and lots of the sort of information about him was lost. But this is a fairly typical sort of deity of like protection and kind of penance and justice that seems to have been only worshipped in Ashar for about 50 years before he fell out of favor, and has been largely forgotten by most of the general populace.
You would also maybe remember that the Oracle Apostle is supposed to be a cleric of this religion.
I have the direct ear of
yeah.
Okay.
It's supposed to be how the Oracle has her powers of prophecy or whatever.
Got it. Is there any information about where this cult, this religion used to worship?
No, not particularly. It's said, though, it is said that they'd never had a physical temple. Like it wasn't even sort of around long enough for that, where it was just like
it's kind of a movement.
Group of people, who would just sort of, wear these black robes and do what they were told. But they never established a proper foothold in Ashar.
Any inklings about the organization of the church leadership, or if there was any kind of prophet or preacher?
Not much specifics in this book, unfortunately, though you do read about like prophecy and oracles, very important to this religion. Like much like what you've heard about this group, they kind of seem to have deferred to one person for the entire 50 years, who was said to have the ear of the Lashed and speak the words of the Lashed and sort of explain, and give orders directly from on high. So it's very much like ringing a lot of bells with what you've read. Though you do also read that all of the members of the Lashed committed ritual suicide towards the end of the religion, though the cause and reason is unclear.
And how long ago was all this?
So according to the book, this could be about 500-600 years ago.
Okay. And Declan will keep that out, but he'll search pretty much everything he can and not stop there. But if there's nothing else to find, then we can fast forward.
We will return to that. You did get an actual 20, but we'll do some Abrishmina things, and then I'll come back to you. So what are you looking for, Abrishmina?
She was looking for stuff about desert things, like trying to see if there's like mention of Ynir the Bane, or a location or legend or location about a desert statue venom place.
Okay, give me some rolls.
Just want one?
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna cast guidance on myself before I roll. She holds her holy symbol and is all like, please, Watcher, my investigation is horrible.
He who watches books.
He who watches. Oh, I'm very sad. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. 5.
You do not find anything on either subject, I'm afraid. The closest thing you find is a book that starts off promising, all about strange structures found in the desert, but it quickly turns into a thing all about sand tables and water density and other things that seem to be more of a natural phenomenon. And you don't think that it's relevant.
I mean, that is disappointed because it would be an I mean, I rolled a 3. It's not gonna, even if it was history instead, that wouldn't help much.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
What's Bryn doing?
I mean, she can't read the language, so she's just kind of wandering around, looking at the spines of different books.
Yeah, you
to see if anything.
Probably catch sight of Makud like sitting at a desk with a tiny man who's reading to him about wyverns.
So you are telling me that I have to clean their teeth?
Yes, or you feed them small stones and grains, and that will clean the teeth for them and keep them sharp. Like I have said 3 times.
And he's like, you see him, he's mostly distracted by the 3 like yipping little mouths that are coming out of the bag, and it's like, they are like tiny needles. This will take a long time.
You don't have to. Oh, yeah.
How's it going, friend? You finding the information you need?
He kind of like turns to like surprised, rubs his head a little. Yes, when they are small, you feed them small meat. When they are big, you feed them big meat. I know that.
Makes
and
sense.
He kind of points towards the guy who is like exasperated because it probably took like 20 times.
Yeah, 100%.
When they're small, you feed them big meat? No, god damn it.
And what's this about their teeth?
I want them big, so I feed them big meat, yes?
Apparently, you need to clean the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
They eat a lot of meat. It can get, and he's like pointed towards the guy, stuck. It rots. They messy eaters. They not eat well, apparently.
And how do you clean their teeth?
With
Am I here?
hands?
Am I back? Am I back yet?
Stone? Grain?
Yes.
Sorry.
Stones and grains.
Around this time, Declan will show up and say, I'm sorry, who needs their teeth cleaned?
Definitely whips out his travel shaving and teeth cleaning kit.
You are very dexterous. You would actually be good at this. And he kind of like holds the bag.
I'm not going to clean your wyvern's teeth, Makud, but I do have something you might find useful. I happen to have
Is it stones? Grains?
Stone. No, it's a brush. Yeah, look. I invented it. It's oral hygiene is incredibly important. If you don't take care of your teeth when you're young, especially wyverns, I assume, as you age, they'll deteriorate. And well, if you clean them regularly, you will avoid these things in old age. But yeah, yes, I'll pull out a little wooden rod with what appears to be boar hair bristles inserted into it, very densely packed. Use this, and I'll pull out a little vial, and this solution mixed with water, and try not to let them swallow too much of the solution. It's not harmful, but you can clean their teeth with this.
The librarian has scuttled off, by the way. He's like seen his chance to escape and has
Took his opportunity and ran.
Yeah.
You scared away the little man. Now who else is going to tell me about how to look after wyvern? Look how many books we have to look through, and that's like 12.
So, yeah, like a good 10,
20. Yeah.
Well, it is a library. We could borrow them.
You can do that.
That's the purpose. We may need to make some sort of membership contract with the library. I would be happy to do that in our name. And then, yes, I believe we could take the books.
You don't
it actually... sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, it leads into something that's been on my mind these last few hours. It seems... I know... Is Abrashmina here?
That is up to see.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Just for ease of whatever.
You come stumbling through with a book.
While I appreciate your newfound impulse and look to Abrashmina for secrecy, I believe that ship for all of us may have sailed. Our enemies know our names, they know where to find us. I think there is greater power for us now in visibility than in invisibility. I think by establishing ourselves as a positive force in this community and letting the people of Ashar know that we are on their side against the malevolent forces arrayed against them may prove more beneficial to us in the long run than hiding. Hiding itself may be quite futile. So, a place to hang our hats that is not the basement of a covert group of murderers. I think I know such a place where, with our newfound funds, we may be able to put a deposit down and open ourselves a little bit of a business.
You can't actually be serious. Your plan to avoid the preacher is to let the preacher know exactly where we are?
He already knows where we are.
Fine, you're going to invite him to us?
I've actually already done just that.
I'm sorry, what?
I sent him a friendly note.
When?
Today. It was clutched in the hand that I had severed from one of his agents. I sent him back.
Dick, please.
You failed to mention this.
I'm mentioning it right now.
Declan, why I think that this is a noble idea. But I'm afraid that if I bring myself out into the open, that will bring attention not only from the preacher, but from my old temple. They may try to make me return.
Can they compel you to do so? Under any law?
Can they? She was in trouble with the law. I'm not entirely sure how that
so they don't own her, but it's very much like she's been compelled to stay this far. Whether they can actually force her to come back, no, probably not. But they could probably make things pretty painful if they really wanted to.
You've broken a taboo.
Would they? Do I think?
Do you think you were pretty valuable to them? But it's probably unlikely that they'll want to just ruin your life.
It might be more likely that they try to insert themselves into whatever it is she's doing so they can claim a piece of it.
Very much the case.
You've broken a taboo. So whatever consequences there are of that will be social, presumably. Which to me means that you must make a new niche for yourself in your society. Unless you plan to hide the rest of your life and never be able to fill your duties in the open as a priestess of He Who Watches, you must find some way to live your life in the open, as must we all, I believe. Our best chance at saving the city is illustrating to the city that it needs to be saved. It's far too comfortable with the levels of corruption and inequity. And if we wish to make that case, then we must be visible. We must be seen to do good.
I'm not in this for your crusade.
Fair enough.
And I'm still trying to come to terms with the fact where you decided that as a group, it would be okay to invite this monster to know where we were.
I didn't tell him where we are. I told him we were coming for him. And as you informed me, he most likely already knows who and where we are. I did not mention any of you by name. I did not mention you at all. Did not use my own name. I did not use a location.
I literally just said your plan is to invite him to us, and you said, I already did.
I've invited him into the game, yes, but he's already engaged.
This is not a game. There are people's lives at stake.
Yes, people I love.
I don't know how comfortable I am with you making decisions like this for me.
Again, I made no decision for you.
The fact that you can't see that you did worries me the most.
In what way?
How do...
I believe what Bren is trying to say is that you have provoked the preacher, and then in the same turn, you would like us to become visible entities within the city of doing good. You have provoked the preacher again. And
I believe we provoked the preacher when we busted up his slave ring.
if it was my understanding that you had already...
Do you believe he was going to stop?
No, I had no such delusions, but I also understand that it's important to be able to work in secrecy. Yes, he knows who we are. He knows what we... But we can hide. We have resources. We could have hidden.
It's already been proven that we can't hide. Anywhere we go, standing next to this tower of a man, looking over to Makud, we are recognized. We are known. Has there been one instance since we began working together where you believe our identities have not been compromised?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
It was not my intention to make a decision for you.
I came here for one reason, and honestly, I feel like it's slipping through my fingers.
You barely share with us what that reason is. We know you're missing someone, but you've given us no information to be able to help you.
Honestly, all of this right now is showing me that I am absolutely in the right for not sharing this information.
Fair enough. It was an idea. not trying to force you into anything.
I don't think a crusade against the corruption of this city in any way whatsoever is going to be successful. We can't even, no offense, convince our two compatriots that the Vicar is not an institution that doesn't need to be shut down and that it's for the better of the city. These people are so blinded by the notion that this is how it is and how it's always going to be, that all we are going to do is expose ourselves to more enemies than we know what to do with. Why make another enemy of this entire city? Why fight this war on more than one front?
I see your point. It's difficult to offer any other argument other than that sometimes you do a thing because it's right.
And sometimes you have to know when it's the right time to pick up a mantle. We are 4 individuals with tenuous contacts at best. There is no way we are going to rally the city behind us at this point.
Of course, not right away. It takes time, it takes steps.
Then I don't think it's the best course of action right now with the preacher breathing down our necks.
What do you propose then, Bryn? This is your thing, yes?
We handle one enemy at a time.
And what is your suggestion? You do lots of shooting down of people's ideas and suggestions, but you bring forth none of your own.
I thought we had a plan. I thought we were going to get information about the preacher. I thought we were going to take the information that we had already had and the new information that we were going to gain, and we were going to begin moving towards dismantling the preacher and his operation.
And as you so eloquently stated, we are only 4. You think we can do this on our own?
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know who this trapper is. I thought that was our next move. I thought that's where we were going.
It is. We are. But I think there are steps we can take to ensure, well, to better guarantee a victory.
Such as?
Well, as you suggested, speaking with the council might be wise. Or maybe it was Arashmina.
I think that was...
We look so alike. It happens all the time.
You're both quite lovely.
I mean, probably at this point in time, Bryn is pretty pissed off, and her eyes are probably completely white, if they are.
She's so mad she's lost her pupils.
Well, technically she's Kalishtar, so that would be something she wouldn't be able to control.
Right.
I do think that perhaps in a note in Declan's favor that we should maybe see about finding other accommodations besides the butcher shop. If we are not going to make ourselves full-time allies of these people, and it seems as Declan is completely opposed to the idea, but then we should not invite this trouble with the preacher down on them unless they have quarrels with him himself. And as far as I know, they know of each other, but they do not have any direct confrontation with the preacher. And it is not fair to bring in innocence in this quarrel if we are not going to commit ourselves.
We need a place to rest. A place that is our own, where Makud can raise his new babies, and I can place my lab, where we won't have to run every time we're discovered.
That's I can agree to that. I just don't know that we necessarily put a sign out front that says this is where we are. Please join our cause.
Well, I wasn't thinking anything quite so obvious.
Cut to the inn with the sign, and it says, "This is where we are. Please join our cause."
It's like that scene in Daredevil with Foggy and Matt, and they're putting up like their little plaque.
Yeah. All right. So what is the plan now?
Sounds like some people want to buy an inn.
Hell yeah!
There is some rose quartz business first, though.
Okay, rose quartz business.
Yes. But I've never ever been part of a D&D game where an in purchase was put forward that was not fulfilled.
I tried. But now we're just going to get into managing the inn and...
I think like Dan knows a guy who runs like this place called the
Nice. All right. But you can head back first then to the bell tower.
What do we want to ask?
Change. When do we want it? No.
Did we come up with any questions that haven't been answered?
There is the preacher and his oasis. We know where the trapper is.
Bryn, would you like to ask a question regarding the person you seek?
Honestly, I'd like to know if the preacher has them.
Then I think that should be our question.
Abrashmina will hand Bryn the rose quartz.
There are no other questions the group wishes to ask.
Oh, there are many. But I think at this precise moment...
You seem to be lost. And you need to find your path.
I would have put it less religiously, but yes.
It would be... I don't know if it would be a comfort to know which answer. Either of those things. But I will ask my question.
I believe you have been troubled lately. And I think that perhaps knowing for sure one way or the other might bring you some sense of peace, even if it is not good news.
Either way, they're still here. You know what? Yeah, fine. I'll ask.
So you head up the broken stairs and find the strange font at the top. What do?
Do you have a family? No.
I do. Poof.
Oh yeah, be real specific, Jade. Considering.
I know. I'm like, who is all up there? I was like, did everybody come up?
Yeah, I mean,
so.
unless you want privacy.
Isn't that what you wanted? We all go together? That's what you said. That's what Makut said back to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You also know that this information will make no near difference to him, but...
So, Bryn will present the rose quartz.
Is she just holding it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have what you asked for.
Put it in the pot.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You place it into the font with the couple of wooden coins that are already in there, and it immediately dissolves. And the font, the water in there turns to a sort of rose color, and there's this faint light, not bright enough to be seen from too far away, but a definite sort of glow. And you see the Bell Witch kind of rear up slowly in front of you, and she has this faint rose-colored tint to her now. She breathes. You have returned.
We have. And we've brought a requested item.
Yes, you have. We are close. Closer than we were. You are due a reward. You may have a question, or you may have this. And she sort of holds up a hand, and I kind of ghostly kind of image of this kind of golden necklace, but it's all like one piece of metal, so it's sort of, I don't know what you call that, but sort of a necklace that goes around, almost like a clasp around the neck, rather than like beads on a string. It's like one solid piece, and it sort of shimmers faintly and slowly rotates.
I think we're going to ask a question this time.
She nods and puts her hand behind her back, and the necklace disappears. Ask.
Bryn will kind of take a deep breath and take one last look around at everyone. Does the preacher have Kaya?
There's a faint moment, and the witch takes a deep breath. The one you seek. She is held by one the preacher holds. If you follow this path, you will find her, but you may not like what you find.
Bryn will turn, look at Abrishmina, and say, "Now you know two people," and walk back down the stairs.
The witch remains and cocks her head curiously.
Abrashmina is confused because Bryn didn't tell her who exactly she was looking for the last time. But okay.
I mean, it was the last thing Bryn did before she left the interrogation room.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I ruined your cool moment.
Yeah, I know, right?
Sorry. That's what I do. Abrashmina nods.
There is more to be done.
Abrashmina will look to the Bell Witch.
What other services can we provide you?
My goddess, VIII. She holds domain over purity of thought, of the calming of minds, the clear focus of one's will.
I like her already.
Find the monk of the wastes
and convince him to revive this temple.
Do you
The
know
Bell
where he
Witch.
can be found?
The Bell Witch slowly begins to fade, her head shaking as she does.
Just as she's like fading, Makuda's like, "Do you know what the wyvern's like? Like really like
Big food."
He like taps his snout and like points at her.
Hey,
The
nose.
big food. Whether she answered big food. Great.
I'm gonna go after Brynhild. Are you all right?
Yeah, I mean, it's good, right? I mean, I know that following the preacher is going to lead me where I want to go, so I don't have to worry about it anymore.
That's certainly one way to look at it.
It's the only way to look at it. I mean, how else am I supposed to react to this?
However you do, it's all right. She's alive.
That's not what she said.
She said that she is held by one who is held by the preacher.
Mm-hmm. And that I'm not going to like what I find.
Said you might not.
Her ashes are in a jar on the Oracle's desk.
I mean,
Seems to me, even in the veiled and oblique references of the Bell Witch, if you might not like what you find, it would be almost a certainty that you wouldn't if she were dead.
I mean,
to me, it bespeaks some sort of change. That is what I believe. Or according to the DM who's laughing at me.
I mean, I really just become aware of the preacher in the last couple of days, but from what I've heard, he's a monster.
He is.
And I don't know how I'm supposed to find comfort in the fact that this monster has her.
I don't mean to comfort you. I am only hoping to shore up your resolve.
Oh, it's plenty shorn up, I guess.
Our course is clear then.
Crystal.
Good.
So, what would we like to do now?
I want to see if I can get a meeting with council. Actually, I kind of want to talk to. I know Mina thinks it'll be a waste of time, but I'll ask Mina. I know you thought it'd be a waste of time, Mina, but what do you think it takes to see the moon elves?
What it takes to see the moon elves?
Typically, just so you know, being a moon elf, about the only way to see them. Either that or get on the council. And, you know, that's extremely difficult if you're not going to blackmail someone or...
Unless they are coming down for council business, there is no seeing the moon elves. They either... They come for council business, they come for their own pleasures in the city. You do not seek audience with them.
Like, there is a large proportion of Ashari who will die without
I am
ever
saying
seeing
that.
Yeah.
Well,
they don't hold audiences. They do not take visitors.
A long-term goal, then.
She nods. If they are to come to the city, they usually travel at night because the sun is too much for them. If they are out about in the day, you will know because there will be palisades and guards, many, many guards. Palisades. The word that's correct there.
Well, good to know. I suppose then I would like to speak with our friend in the Six Eyes. Does anyone else have an agenda that they'd like to pursue before we move on?
I said it in the chat, but Abrashmina will mention the ASMR that is planning on scouting the desert because he felt the preacher would be there, which, like, you know, coincided with what the Bell Witch told us, but no one told him about that. He just said it.
Who's this ASMR again?
I'm not sure if Declan was there, but so I guess she'll tell you that there is another one such as she in the Six Eyes that has a connection.
He's not necessarily in the Six Eyes. He just hangs out there, kind of like you guys.
Well, let's seek him out, and we can also speak with, what's the guy's name? The leader?
Sharat.
Sharat. We can also speak with...
I believe Dune said he was leaving tomorrow morning when you spoke to him.
Oh, so he's gone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think...
He said if we needed to talk to him that we could tell a bird and he would know. I think that is how his connection speaks to him, is through birds.
Are there any birds about?
I'm sure we could pass through the market. They're always selling some sort of...
McCoo just asking a roast chicken for directions.
Tell him! Motherfucker, tell him.
I asked you a question.
Yeah. You have a clutch.
I love you, Dad.
Okay. So yes, is that what we're doing now?
Six Eyes.
Or are we...
Sounds like
Six Eyes, buying an inn,
looking for birds.
Looking for birds.
I heard something about chicken.
Do you have a clutch?
Do you have a clutch?
Uh,
Very well. As for birds, you can definitely find there are shellbirds flying overhead. There are various types of seafaring gull that sort of float around. A lot of the gulls especially are like very brazen and will come up and steal food. So it's probably easy enough to get close to one of those.
If one of the gulls comes close enough to try to steal some food while I'm stopping and have a snag, what's the guy's name? Dune?
Yeah, Abrashmina could try to coax one.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Go for it.
Sure. Do I just do it or do I need to roll for it?
Let's have an animal handling.
All right.
I mean, McCood could attempt to coax one with some chips.
You probably smell like wyvern. I don't think birds are going to come anywhere near you.
It is a valid point.
Is
really good.
Dirty 20. I got
All right.
15 plus 5.
You managed to entice over a particularly large gull.
It's a big fella.
And Abrashmina, without like a hint of self-consciousness, will just kind of say, I have a message for Dune. And his, through his, oh man, I wanted to say it. Fuck. Where's that note? The name of his goddess.
Bree. Oh, the name of his
goddess.
I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head without looking at my notes, but that was dumb.
I underlined it and now I can't find it. Niran,
yeah.
Message for Dune, or Naran's Dune, and she will. What is she telling me? Sorry.
I don't know. You just suggested that we could talk to him, but we never talked about what we were going to tell him.
Yeah, I suggest. Yeah, Declan was like, "Well, let's talk to this guy," and then yeah. So I guess Abrashmina will say that she has a friend that wishes to speak to him if he's not too far into the desert already.
So this gull is like you know, picking at like a piece of dried lizard meat or whatever is around. And then as you begin to speak to it, it slowly like stops and like kind of stops hopping and flapping around and just like turns its head towards you and just meets your eye for the duration of your speech and just stares at you like unblinking. And it's quite strange behavior. And then it, when you're finished, it kind of blinks a few times and then just takes off. If you watch it, it begins to fly south.
That is done.
All right.
Six eyes.
Yeah.
So you head back into the butcher's shop, and it's fairly empty. Maya and Thal are gone, and Uvir stands polishing glasses behind the bar. You see a very kind of skinny, like whippish looking young human, Ashari, who's like asleep in the in one of the booths, and that's really it.
Is Sharat in?
Uvir shakes his head. He is at the council meeting today. He will likely be back tomorrow, maybe the day after. They last a long time, apparently.
Do I know if like council meetings are something that normal folk can go to and
No, God, no.
interrupt? Okay.
Council meetings are like clandestine, and there's like sub meetings and meetings within meetings, and
so
like
if we just throw the door open and say, they're not going to appreciate that.
It's like council meetings are like a game of Risk.
It's not like one of those things where we could just be like, we have a message for Sharat. If he could come speak to us real quickly.
No,
they wouldn't run a message to him.
No. Like it's very much like you turn up and you are like entirely engaged for like a day, and then you don't have another one for like a month.
Because basically you have to wait for the elves to be interested in running the city.
Yeah, so the elves are like ants, right? Like there's like maybe 50 to 100 of them in total, and they don't do anything quickly because they live forever, basically. So why would they, kind of thing? So there's lots of like very nuanced games and like political posturing and all this sort of thing to happen before any real work gets done. So for a human, it's like a excruciatingly boring experience.
Well, come back tomorrow. Maybe I could show you the inn if you like.
Suppose. Do you wish to speak to any of them about getting Tira and Mioren out of town, the way they did those lamentable women? Or is that something you prefer to do on your own?
I think I'd like to wait. I think they're safe enough at the temple for now.
Brashmina will nod.
From what I understand, your people have a fair reverence for even religions that are not their own. I imagine that these reverent devotees of the preacher might share that respect.
Perhaps.
So, are we going to see the inn then?
Sounds like.
So you walk down the high street and you come to the front entrance. It's sort of an L-shaped building, but quite large, very spacious. The like windows and everything are all boarded up. And there is no for sale signs in the window. Inside is a kitchen and like a prep room at the back, as well as a storeroom and a hatch down to like a really expansive basement that's probably bigger than the footprint of the house. and it's very cool down here. So a good wine cellar.
Lab.
Potentially. There's a lot of room.
How do things look in the back room where I was torturing people?
That room is bloody but empty.
Okay. So, fun fact about this particular location, it does have one major drawback. I did interrogate a couple of people in the storeroom.
Did you leave them there to get themselves out? They will remember this place?
Oh, yes. So.
That is unfortunate.
We are not going to pass our health code.
No, certainly not.
The main room of the inn.
Have we taken a short rest effectively since I got stabbed a couple times?
Yeah. You will. You've taken a. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll some hit dice.
You've taken a long rest.
Since then.
Have I?
Yeah,
because that was the day when they were all at the Vicar, and this is the day after that.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah. So the main room of the inn, the bar is sort of like in the foot of the L, and then there are space for tables and chairs all set out around it. There is a for sale sign that's lying on the floor, having been chucked aside, and steps leading up to another sort of large area with 10 fairly compact bedrooms that are all sort of situated around, as well as a sort of communal bathing area, washroom type thing.
It's a nice place. I like it. It's got charm.
Are we going to run it? Or is it just a place to live?
Well, we will need income for as long as our operations go on. I think it might behoove us, if this is something we are to consider, to decide on how much we're all willing to invest individually and then as a unit, and what we can afford. If we can afford to have a barkeep and a cook, I think that would be enough to run the place in our absence.
This is just Mina being wise. Maybe I'm not sure if this is entirely clever, but I know you do not wish to partner with the Six Eyes. But if we offer the place up as possible means or safe house for them, it's possible we could get some of them to run it to keep up a ruse for share of the profits.
I'm not comfortable having planned murder organized under a roof that I own.
That is not what I was proposing.
You said you wanted them to use it as a safe house.
Yes, for them to hide. As a place to rest. That does not include murdering people here.
It seems somewhat essential to their mission statement.
I would argue otherwise, but you do not seem to want to hear that reasoning again.
Well, what benefit would this be to us? You say that they would run the place for free?
No, in exchange for it to being a place for them to rest within the city. It was an idea of trying to make use of the connections that we have.
I understand. My fear with the Six Eyes has always been this. They bring a great deal down upon themselves by the way they conduct their business. We already have enemies enough of our own. I don't think we need theirs as well.
But it's also possible they would have security that we may not have access to. That could help us, secure this place.
There's more than enough room for the four of us. But I understand your reticence.
I understand the point you're making. And I will not object too strongly. if there are conditions under which they operate here.
Just a safe house. I mean, nothing that would corrupt your moral code could be conducted under this roof.
Simply a place for someone to rest if they cannot make it all the way back to the butcher shop.
Or for them to keep individuals safe until they need to move them out of the city.
Yes, as long as these terms were clear, then I would be amenable to that arrangement.
Perhaps it is something we can speak to Sharat about tomorrow.
Are we all interested in purchasing this property?
What happens when your mission in Ashar is done, my lamentable friends? Will you leave?
Well, I suppose that depends. Right now, my instinct is yes, but there's nothing wrong with diverse real estate holdings.
I've actually never really thought that far. I've never really stayed in one place for too long.
It is something I consider, because if you find who you're looking for and you find who you're looking for and you go back to Lament, that would leave me in Makut with this place.
Then you have income in your new life.
You could choose to sell it if you so desired.
Makut, what do you think? It does not have wine yet.
But that can be remedied.
He is like looking around the place.
Does Makud fit comfortably inside?
Yeah, it's definitely tall enough for him. High ceilings.
Okay.
The basement's probably a bit of a stoop. The bedrooms are very small. You could knock a wall through.
Already thought about that. Yeah.
That's why there's more than two.
Makud is just kind of like pacing, I think, while they're talking. He's kind of like looking in rooms and things. How far is it from the Vicar?
From the Vicar, if you just go by the main road, probably 20-minute walk.
But on one road.
Yeah.
Useful. Okay.
And it's on the high street, and the Vicar is like the end of the high street.
And the butcher shop, is it in the bad part of town?
Yeah.
Like this is on the edge of the bad part of town.
So yeah, this is like
the butcher's deep in it.
If you picture a Shah like a crucifix with the long part pointing north. The northeastern section, that long section, is like the skeevy part of town, and the crucifix itself is the like main roads in a Shah, and basically the palace is at one end, at the short end, this is like right at the opposite end on the road, basically, and the Vicar is sort of like at the southeastern crossroads. Yeah.
Okay.
But the crossroads is like the main market area.
The top end of that crucifix, or like the long end, is that the docks?
There are a couple of docks, but yeah, like that. But the ones you sent the women off to are a bit further east than that.
Okay.
Just because it's a bit less foot traffic there.
And this back room, is it like behind the bar, or is it somewhere else accessible?
It can be accessed behind the bar. I do have a map of it somewhere, actually.
Okay.
Yay!
But it can be accessed behind the bar.
I make it in The Sims.
But it's also like its own room.
Okay. Make it in The Sims.
I totally will. Don't even play.
Can you give characters horns in that and make them really beefy boys?
I can.
Okay.
Okay.
Makuda like takes a while, and probably like people are looking at him, and he's like, I like it. Do you intend for this room to stay bloody?
It does add a certain charm, don't you think?
Absolutely. Adds to the resale value as well.
Well, I'm sure we can find enough people in all of Ashar to keep it bloody.
I'm sure we could. But let's try to keep the blood outside.
That could be where we leave the wyverns for now.
That wasn't like a threat to the population of Ashar. That was him suggesting that they have a fight ring. Like,
oh, did not get
not that he's gonna. It's not a murder room. It's not Dexter. He just.
It's a sparring room.
It's a spar. Yeah.
Actually, speaking of which, Declan really does want to spar with you. He probably regret it, but well,
Especially after I level up.
what's the price?
Second attack.
So it's got a sign outside that says, or the sign you recall,
on the floor.
2,500 gold, crossed out, says 1,000 gold.
Could probably get them to go down a bit further, cash in hand.
Does raise the question as to why this place has been sold for so cheaply.
Have I heard of this place before?
You may roll a historical check.
A historical check. Oh boy, oh boy.
I failed.
Oh, that's a 15 plus 1, 16. Have I heard? What is this sign called? What does the sign say again?
The Mirage.
The Mirage.
You have heard of the Mirage. It was a very popular place, like did a fucking roaring trade for a long time. It's kind of like an Ashari institution for a little while. And then poor management sort of ran it into the ground. And the owner's like family got sick, and so he had to sell it off very cheap. And since then it's never been reopened, and just like, you know, it's like no one's ever got around to fixing it, and people just hold the property, and it sort of changes hands every so often. But there's an address to go to the people who currently have it up for sale, apparently.
Well, Bryn Hill, how do you feel about a negotiation?
Oh, I'm allowed to do that now?
There is a difference between negotiation and extortion.
I mean, I was negotiating a price that you guys failed to negotiate.
That wasn't your place.
I'm not interested in quibbling about your place. I don't particularly want to be party to shaking down a businessman, but you do have a way with words, and a certain level of tactful yet forceful influence asserted in negotiation could be used ethically to our benefit. And I think you would be the woman for the job.
Whatever. So what do you know about the place? Is it something I can use to get the price brought down? Is it haunted?
Abrashmina will share what she knows.
All right.
It has been closed for quite a while.
All right. What is the most money we are willing to spend on this place? I mean, I need a place to start.
No, we can afford 1,000. Start at 5, maybe.
That's what I was thinking, and I was hoping maybe
Settle at 750 if possible.
See, you guys got this. Those were exactly the numbers that I was going to use.
Clearly, we don't lack for intellect. We just lack your persuasive powers.
All right.
And Abrashmina will lay a hand on Bryn's shoulder and say, hopefully the Watcher will guide you. And she's going to cast Enhance Ability.
How long does that last?
An hour.
Cool. Yeah.
To give her
So
Eagle's Splendor.
Say, "Caca!"
Does that mean I get feathers?
It means you get advantage on charisma checks.
I mean, I have advantage on persuasion rolls already, but...
Oh,
so
you do?
Travel...
God damn it.
Yeah. You travel about 10 minutes to the address, and it's a very rundown, like half broken building, and the door is like a few planks of wood that happen to fit into the doorway. But you knock. Do you knock? Kick it down.
Kick it down.
Give me your in.
Yeah.
Knock. Jeez.
Well, no, I was trying to decide.
Wait,
I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted to remove my weapons before I did this or not. But no, we'll go in. And we'll knock.
So you hear some shuffling inside. The door opens. A tiny hunchback woman, faded gray hair, and like sort of that's mostly falling out. Declan, unfortunately, you've had dealings with this woman before.
Oh God, it's my landlord.
She stares at your midriff.
For the cleaning?
Bryn, not really wanting to look up. Just, yes, what do you want?
I'm sorry, but I've found a possible property that I'm interested in investing in. And I had some concerns and some questions.
She like slowly looks up at you. What do you want?
The inn over on, I imagine I know the street. It's
just the high street, I suppose. Yeah.
The inn over on High Street. I'm sorry, I'm new in town, and I'm just
the Miragi.
Yeah, I think that's what the sign said. I'm just.
You want to buy?
I mean, I just want a place to play. The other one, the eel place, they just
Nah, that's a bad inn.
I mean, they wouldn't let me play. And I just want a place to play.
1,500 gold. And then it's yours.
I'm sorry, that's just more money than I have right now. And I was looking at the place, and it's gonna take me a lot of money to get it up and running again, and just. I mean, and how long has it even been sitting empty?
Some time.
How long is some time? I mean, it's just been sitting there. I'm sure you owe back taxes.
Well,
she like scratches her head awkwardly, so like looks shiftily around.
Maybe a little bit cheaper.
I was thinking more along in the neighborhood of maybe 500.
500? No.
That's really probably all that place is really worth. I mean, it used to be a grand inn, but it is not a grand inn anymore. And it's been sitting empty for probably months.
1,000.
No.
Minimum. No less.
I'm sorry. I just can't really do it for 1,000. Maybe 6?
6 golds.
600. Oh my God. Don't be daft.
600 golds. Yeah.
600 gold. Cash in hand right now.
Persuasion check.
I got those. That is going to be a dirty 20.
You beat her, just.
Okay, 600 golds. She holds out a hand, like beckoning towards you.
All right, and then gather. I'll
Do you have the deed, madam?
She like reaches into her dress and pulls out like the grubbiest looking piece of paper you've ever seen.
I'll kind of grab it and look it over, make sure it's legit.
This is Ina, right?
Pardon?
Is this Ina?
It
I
is.
was trying to find her name.
authentic.
It looks legitimate.
Yeah, it looks legitimate. Very old and grubby, but legitimate. You can see it was like originally dated about 75 years ago.
Okay. I'll give Brendan a nod.
All right, I'll pay the gold out of my own, but then we can.
She holds up a hand. And service charge.
No service charge.
I'm afraid you've already given us the deed.
Man.
You have to.
I mean, we could walk out of here with the deed and you get nothing, or we can be honorable about this. Give you the 600 gold, no service charge.
What is the service charge?
Don't ask about the service charge.
73 golds.
I just wanted her to say it's for the service charge.
I mean, really, the choice is
what
yours.
the service is exactly. We found you.
Cleaning!
You didn't clean it. It's disgusting.
Why, but you should
why-
have seen before I cleaned it.
Why are we having this conversation right now?
Because
I
it's
could just-
very amusing.
70,
I could just think of
673 golds.
And she's like kind of like grabbing at your coat a little bit, Ren.
600 gold and not a copper more.
1 copper more for service charge.
I will give you a copper because you are a delightful woman.
Thank you.
And she like snatches out your hand, slams the door.
Why did you let her win?
Because she's cute. She's a very sweet old lady.
I am going
That
to
is not how you do business.
Abrashmina.
Well, that's why I let you do the business.
Oh, sorry. Abrashmina is going to give Bryn her share, which is 150 gold.
I will give you 150 gold as well. Well negotiated.
Makud, you give 1,500 gold.
This is what it is worth, yes?
It is this much, Makud, and Abrashmina
Yeah.
will help them count it out.
I was going to say, there's no way Bren would swindle him out of any.
Yeah.
I mean, not even just from the fact that he's would punch her and she'd explode, but just the fact that he's a friend.
And I think you guys investing into the Ashari property market is a good place to end
Right on.
tonight.